Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 5 of the ADL. Today, we've got Iceborn ready versus Rubber Ducky Gaming Echo. I'm Karthik, and I'm joined by my co-caster Orbital. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Excited to be here. Excited to get underway. We got only this week into more of the regular season, so I know teams are starting to buckle down here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these teams face off. We got a little bit of a David versus Goliath matchup here. Iceborn Ready are currently undefeated in this league, 3-0, while Rubber Ducky, they're struggling a bit, still trying to get a point on the board, but yeah, we'll have to see if they can create the big upset today and really take their potential into their hands.
Of course, of course. And on that same note, I mean, there's a reason why Iceborn Ready do want to win this series. Their next remaining matches, I believe, are going to be slightly interesting. Going on to week 6, they are facing off against XG Raijin, who are second. And then in week 7, they'll be facing off against the likes of Iridescent Dawn Umbra, which is Iridescent Dawn Umbra sitting at 5th at 1 and 2. Maybe not too difficult, but XG Raijin are one step away from forcing them themselves in the first place as well. So it is very important that they win here, maintain their first, and make sure they face off against a good seed heading into playoffs. You got CG, you got Mayweather, you got Smokey, you got Husky, and Kiri, hopefully rounding out this main roster.
Yeah, they've really just been performing so far. I think a big reason for that is really understanding the meta as well. Huge changes coming into this league so far, and they've been picking the right characters, playing them to perfection, getting the wins across the board.
Yeah, and on the other side, I mean, a huge part is the Rubber Ducky Gaming Echo, and for them, it's been difficult. Their strength of schedule at the end is up against the winning Soulbirds, who are currently placed at about 4th, and then, of course, at the very end will be XG Raijin, 2nd seed, as we mentioned before. So right now, they're facing up against some of the toughest opponents here in the Targon region. It's going to be Bimbo, EQQ, as well as Hexify, and then Consul Diana, and then Pup Noofster. So should be a very interesting match.
Yeah, you could say quite the opposite for them. Like maybe didn't really quite understand what is happening with the patches recently, but you know, it's do or die time right now. It is a hard opponent, but it's time that you have to prove yourself. If you want to make a deep run in playoffs, if you want to show that you are a contender in this league, this is the way to do it. You have got to beat Iceborn Ready.
And honestly, I think it's going to be tough either way. One of the big things that I always see in top teams, especially one that's only dropped a single game so far, and that was all the way at the beginning to the winning Soulbirds. They were all the way in week number 1, and since then have been undefeated across their matches. I don't think Iceborn Ready are going to be unready. They're not going to be lax here in this matchup. One of the very scary things that I'll always talk about is the fact that when you look at a team like this, not only is their team composition going to be pretty stalwart, but their individual skill as well will be able to take over. So there are points where the composition, you need to just say, hey, it doesn't matter what composition they decide to run, you have to be ready for just about everything.
Yeah, Iceborn were definitely ready for the games, and we'll have to see if they're ready for today's series here as we get straight into the draft. Iceborn are starting off on blue side in game 1.
And I mean, for them, it's all about getting some of those power picks. I know Corki is a very high priority, but the Aurora is still very annoying. Same with the likes of some of the other mids. I mean, Yone is still a very high prio, but that is, I think, going to be on the Rubber Ducky side. RDGE saying, okay, you know, the Milio band away, taken away from the bot side, I don't think that's a problem. Instead, they go with the Lilia, so focusing a little bit on the unique jungle mix-ups.
Yeah, focusing on some of those characters that these people are experienced with, as we see the Hui come in as well. Not something that's super strong in the meta, but it's something that Rubber Ducky cannot have tonight.
On the other, it's also looking at that Ashe. These are both champions that can create a lot of cross-map plays, I feel like. You know, the Seedling from the Lilia can be very annoying, but the Ashe, I mean, the Crystal Arrow essentially sets everything up. You are looking at just that ability to ensure one person is going to go down, so you can't give that one over. This does leave a problem, though, and I like this Karma ban. Instead, I saying, yeah, you're going to have to pick one or the other. Yone or the Corki, I think, are going to be the two priorities, but no, they live power picks open, and there's a Corki, just like we mentioned.
Yeah, just like that, it is grabbed up, and we actually see Seraphine instantly locked in with the Rakan here. Rubber Ducky, the speed that they did that, like, they got a plan coming in today. Really interesting first two picks from them.
Yeah, this is CC, and again, Corki does have a fairly shorter range, not exactly as long as some of the other ADCs out there. So you can theoretically hop on top of the Corki pretty well. The problem is, of course, I mean, the damage output later on can be a little bit difficult. You got great sustain. Seraphine and Rakan are able to kind of keep everyone zoned away. You got a little extra healing, and the wave clear from a Seraphine is ridiculous. But the problem is going to nullify a lot of that if it's locked in. It still pairs well. If that is a Corki bot lane, it would still pair very well in terms of being able to stun someone out, and you can stop the Rakan from hard engaging, I would say.
Yeah, I really like this Braum pick here. They kind of revealed a lot of their cards by picking the Seraphine and Rakan, and just being able to stop so much of that engage potential already is so nice. And I love the Gragas here. I think Gragas is such a good blind pick. You can flex it in different places as well too. Really good to see this coming out. This draft from Iceborn already with the flex picks of Corki and Gragas, I think it bodes really well for them as they go into that second phase.
Now, I will say, after watching some worlds, I understand where the Gragas is coming from. I get it, I understand, but you know, it'll be interesting. Like you said, where does it decide to flex? And that is going to be very important. That's what RDGE are also wondering. Is that going to be a jungle? Is that going to be top side? For right now, I would assume in the jungle, which is, you know, going to be a nice one, but the Gwen lock in here, this is a little bit of a problem, mainly because Gwen, it can be strong, but it's easily counterable as well. So RDGE picking that early means that they are very confident in their top laner and saying, hey, we know that you can win, or hopefully you can win and get a good lead, get a good start.
Yeah, it's just these three picks right here are so crazy. I guess they're really just trying to focus in on what characters they're good at and making sure that they can execute the team plan that they have, you know. We'll have to see if it does end up working out. Something that does happen when you pick these unconventional kind of picks is that maybe the opponent doesn't know how to play against them, so they're hoping for that. But with that, the junglers are still left up, so we're going to see Xin and Gravesband coming in off the board.
Yep. That is leaning into a little bit of a more priority. The Gragas headed towards that top side, saying, yeah, okay, we understand this. Taking away a lot of those agencies, though, that dueling aspect, and I appreciate that. The Xin Zhao is a great go-in tool. You can also section off a lot of the damage. The Crescent Guard blocks a lot of damage. Surprising amounts, I would say. But the J4, the engage tool, is still denied away. So RDGE ensuring that the jungle pool will pretty much be relegated to either assassins or tanks, one way or the other.
Yeah, and I think tanks might be the name of the game here. Never mind, it's going to be Wukong out here. Still can be Gwen jungle, Wukong top. We'll see who will end up going where, but just a lot of fighters coming in to be supported by the enchanters that they picked up early.
Yeah, I mean, they're pulling out everything. I'm mad that I forgot about the Wukong. I do forget about that one quite often, but it's a nice one at the end of the day. Still, though, I would like a little bit more hard CC. I will say I do prefer it. But both teams are still going those duelists, and this is what I was talking about. This one, Bel'Veth can be considered a fighter, but I akin it more to like an ADC pathing, more of just like that raw damage. Late game, though, Bel'Veth becomes unkillable, which is wild. But early game, if you keep a Bel'Veth behind, she does not fare very well. She starts losing a lot of oomph behind it. So it does look like that Corki is actually going in the mid lane with an ADC role here down for Iceborn ready.
Yeah, I think Wukong is someone who can definitely punish that Bel'Veth, so I'll be happy if that Wukong ends up going into the jungle, tries to invade the Bel'Veth and get in her face. But we got a Varus lock-in for the B5 pick here. Varus Braum is a really strong early game lane. It'll get you prio, it'll get you control over those dragons.
I don't know if RDGE were very aware of it as well, but they are going to get counter pick for that mid lane, unless the Seraphine is going mid, which it could be very doable. I've just seen Seraphine a lot in the APC roll down there, and so it's that, you know, maybe they were baited as well. They got baited in by the Corki pickup. And no, it is a Seraphine bot lane, the Yone going towards that mid lane. The last pick actually lifts, and I will say it's quite surprising. I know Yone was tapered down a little bit coming into the most recent patch, but still to have it fall all the way down to R5 is quite surprising to me.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that it finally did end up being picked up. It almost looks like RDG's draft order is reversed or something, but yeah, that's going to be, in the end, going to be that pretty cohesive draft. What are your thoughts on who might take this one based on the characters that are picked?
I mean, I'm still looking at the dispersal ability of Iceborn Ready. They do have a very nice stall, not stall, but a very nice, if things go south, if you're going to engage, we do have a way to fight back. You have a lot of CC, and honestly, the Corki is just very overwhelming, given the agency to fight forward, and also you're a range into a melee. Yone may have a few struggles early on here. Iceborn Ready, I think, do have the composition to take over a game if their lanes line up, and if they're the 3-0 team that we expect. This is a squad, this is a composition that can win early, mid, and late.
Yeah, I don't totally agree with you. I think Iceborn have a lot more of a cohesive draft, while RDG, they need some characters like the Yone or the Gwen to just get really ahead early and snowball the game, or else things will look kind of rough for them. So we'll have to see if they can make those picks work, or if Iceborn is just going to continue to steamroll tonight as well. So we'll be back after a little break and a word from our sponsors, ProComps.
Quick shout out to ProComps, our sponsor and a game changer app for the League community. This isn't just like the other tools. It's your personal draft coach, perfect for both teams and solo players. In fact, you can pair it with any other app you use. ProComps stands out with features like custom champion pools, personalized tier lists, and live draft advice. Think of it as having a virtual coach and a strategy toolkit all in one. They offer real-time champ and ban recommendations. They already have over 200,000 downloads and thousands of daily users just like you. ProComps is user-friendly and totally free. It is a no-brainer to at least give it a go. Download ProComps now and you'll experience a whole new level of drafting power in your league games. Go to procomps.gg, download it from Overwolf, or click the panel below on our stream.
everyone? We are back. We are into game one of the series between Iceborn and Rubber Ducky Gaming here. We got some very interesting characters. We got some Bel'Veth, we got some Gwen and Wukong. It's gonna be an interesting game here.
I think it's going to be good. I mean, you mentioned before the Wukong coming out, and I think that is very important to highlight. This was after 4 bans were pretty much thrown into the jungle role. It was very much just kind of dropping down to the lowest available, but I appreciate it, and I like it. Mayweather specifically, though, on that Bel'Veth, I mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of it. However, I know how strong it can be. And for Iceborn Ready, I assume what you're going to have are very lane heavy play styles here. Soji as well as Sosiji as well as Smokey. These two I would expect to get some sort of prio in lane just with raw mechanical skill. The champions also allow for it. And bot side, I think Husky, Templar, and Kiri are going to be able to push with the, well, at least hold against the constant poke and allow Mayweather to farm up appropriately.
Yeah, that's great analysis there. I think also just like looking at how the matchups are going to go here too. I think this bot lane has to just like get push and allow this Bel'Veth to get space. And same thing with the top lane, right? Try and get that push onto the Gwen. That Gragas can wave clear really well if they want. This Bel'Veth needs the space to scale up and be that monster in the late game.
I think it's going to be even more difficult as well, just depending on how quickly they push. This game can get very quickly out of control, and I think we're seeing it here. Husky running a level 1 damage output.
Yeah, they heard me, I guess. You know, Braum walks up first, Varus walks up after, and they are just pushing their prio in this bot lane, while Chili Blue on the other hand was also getting some good trades, and Husky is just doing so well using that hail of blades, using that range advantage to just completely push them out of lane, just both around half health already.
I feel like normally you would see Seraphine with a little bit more poke heavy support, something with a little bit more long range utility instead of a Rakan, but it might make sense. However, Kiri and Husky, they're going to try and play against this as much as possible. You can see the Seraphine poke coming out here. Once you hit level 2, level 3, you got the heal coming in. You also got that stun, that root, so CG is taken quite low. That might be death. Oh my god!
Just like that, Chili Blue, knowing his limits, drops the ignite, and so CG, he's drinking his potion, but it just was not enough as he ends up going down for first blood.
That hurts. I was not expecting that. I saw Sosiji get low, but I didn't think they were going to play with fire that much. And the fact that you lose to Gwen, we said the Gwen needs to get a good start. It's a champion that can sometimes win out, but not often. A lot of people see it as a good counter matchup if you're given the opportunity for late game. To get a first blood with that ignite, you put yourself in a really good spot here towards the mid game.
Yeah, and Gwen is one of these characters that doesn't really turn up until like 1, especially 2 items, and is a bit weak before that. So the fact that she has a solo kill already and gets bolstered towards those 2 items is just so insane in this early game.
I think that's going to be even more complicated though, because you take a look at where Mayweather is currently playing a little bit faster onto that scuttle, so you're going to have a little bit more agency moving around. Of course, Hexify for their own. I mean, you can see where they're walking at. So right now, good eyes on Iceborn Ready, just saying, hey, maybe we can make something happen.
Yep, and junglers also just gonna be chilling, pathing away from each other, picking up the scuttle crabs. Nothing crazy here. I kind of thought about going for the Raptors, but just dropped a ward and got out of there. So at least they'll get some vision on where Mayweather is pathing.
And for their own, I think RDGE, even though they're sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard, I have a feeling they play hard, and that actually makes me very, very happy. You can see the ward coverage like you were mentioning, but it's so much more than that. The fact that RDGE felt very confident in moving in to do that as well, it brings a lot of life to my eyes. Normally you'd be maybe a little bit worried or anything like that. No lanes are sitting there going, we can't duel. So I do appreciate that fact.
Yeah, it's really about that mindset, right? If you come in thinking, oh, we have a bad record, we might lose, that ain't gonna cut it. You gotta go in there, you gotta get the solo kill like Chili Blue did, and Hexify going in with another great trade, but shouldn't really have the damage, should be able to get out.
I don't think it'll be that much of a problem. Hexify, of course, does understand that you it's a range versus melee. You need to get all the farm that you can, and I think Smokey actually ran out of mana very early on, so has been playing a little bit on the back foot, which is why we're seeing the CS differential be so close. Hexify really does enjoy this fact, and once you hit level 6 as well, you basically ensure Smokey isn't allowed to step up unless you recall and teleport back. So that's what I'm kind of watching for. Is that's a flash in the mid lane already? So surprising factor between the two.
Yeah, some action happening in that mid lane, but you know, Smokey, he has a teleport if he wants to dip out of this lane, so they should generally be okay. I honestly think it's even better for Smokey than Hexify, because Yone is a lot more vulnerable without having that Valkyrie backward like Smokey does.
Yeah, it's a problem. Granted, Hexify is going to be level 6, is TPing right back to lane, so both laners coming back with a pretty hefty chunk. I'm not sure about Smokey running the Cole, though. You're going up against Hexify, who is going to have that raw early damage output with those Berserker's Greaves. So we'll see how that plays out, but the Cole just means that you are going to play a little bit safer. Now we're seeing the pings go down, though. Mayweather is spotted out inside of the jungle side, so EQ saying, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try and take these grubs, but I'm not sure it's going to work. Thankfully, Chili is headed down to play.
And Mayweather really wants these grubs, but they just do not have the prio. Smokey getting some good damage, some good chunks onto Hexify, but it's too little too late. Mayweather, no grubs for them. They're just going to maybe end up going for the dragon because they got that bot prio at least.
I mean, you're over wards and everything like that, but you already lost grubs, and you don't like that this is traded, but it has become that standard once again. I remember when they changed timers, they were like, yeah, we really want to ensure that trading isn't the only option, that you have a chance to go for both. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. This trade is always going to be up and available. Topside though, so CG, another issue that we're seeing is you're once again very low. You're not respecting the scissor damage, and Chili Blue theoretically could dive this, so CG is not that tanky.
Yeah, so CG he's not sidestepping the scissors or anything, just taking the full combo whenever the stacks are up. So just completely getting chunked out with just an amp tome and a D-ring. So once Gwen gets one item, it is rough. As here comes the all-in here, the needlework coming in. Flash not there, the last needle just barely doesn't hit. So at least getting the flash from CG here, but he is going to get out with his life for now.
I like how we mentioned it was already going to happen. Now bot side, we're seeing another rotate as Mayweather might be looking for a little bit of a gank.
Yeah, here comes Mayweather. Great knockup by Pupnu here, but he gets up stunned in return. Can he dash out? He's rooted. The Seraphine ulti is blocked. And great play by Kiri here to land another stun onto Console Diana. They're just getting the flashes that they're getting out. 1 HP. Flashes both left and right, but no one ends up going down.
That was close, but you're seeing the makings of magic. Iceborn ready. You mentioned this Varus. B5 being a linchpin with the Braum, it creates such an oppressive lane, and we saw it right there. Husky didn't even have to flash because of the layered CC, because of those concussive blows paired with Mayweather. It worked so well. And now you burn both flashes on the bot side. Pup and Console Diana, these two are not going to enjoy this lane anymore. Now all of a sudden Husky, Templar, and Kiri have full control.
Yeah, I think Iceborn now really have to take advantage of the Seraphine without a flash. He's just so vulnerable to ganks. So I'm sure Mayweather, you know, is going to go do his top side and then come back in a few minutes to pay them another visit.
Well, of course, at the same time, you don't want to fall behind and farm. For Mayweather, you haven't been able to gather any of those major souls or anything like that. You are going to be looking specifically at getting those kills. You want to start getting those stacks on your passes, start scaling up, get more attack speed. Versus CG for their own, they're going a little bit of a safer route in terms of item pathing. You can see the Ruby Crystal plus the Fairy as well. I mean, this is scaling into that mid game, which, I mean, Chili might be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, and I think it's so big that Chili gets this advantage in the top side too, because normally Gragas should have shove here, right? They should have the priority for Bel'Veth to get these grubs, get those souls, but that is just not allowed. But yeah, so CG, you know, he's getting his way back into the matchup slowly. I feel like even if Dragon falls behind, it's really hard to kill him unless he really severely misplays. The mobility, the slipperiness, he can keep Chili Blue at bay as long as Chili Blue doesn't get too fried anymore.
It's just a little bit danger. Of course, Hexify still looking to dance, and this is also the thing. This is why people were talking about Corki and seeing Corki come back up. I had to do a little research after last week. I was like, man, why is Corki getting banned so much? That's why Corki is now rising as one of the top, damage carries for any team right now, and it's very, very apparent. Damage output is looking so strong, and I think Hexify is starting to realize that as well.
Yeah, like Yone can land everything in the trades, but Corki will just match the damage right back. So it's just so good here. He has built up about a 10 CS lead so far already and has been doing pretty well in the game. Both the mid lane flashes are back up now, so nothing crazy ended up happening. But Hexify going for the all in, the soul is unbound, so he should be able to come right back, and nothing too much happening here. Oh, Ek, here come near. The monkey business. Kiri lands the stacks, and here comes Mayweather. Rakan's in tow, but Corki is roaming first. Mayweather's in the thick of it. He's going down soon. And oh, the encore hits so well onto 2 here. Kiri's gonna end up going down next year since Soji is here on the side. You got Chili Blue coming in from the side. The needlework is available. Kiri barely gets out. Pop Newster, does he have another knockup? Corki is here. The stun lands onto so many people, but Sosiji cannot save his life.
And that was just a game of RDGE rotating earlier. One of the big things is, remember, they don't have a dedicated attack damage carry that is ranged. They have to get up at close and personal. And for that fact, you saw them all rotating for these grubs again. Such a smart play. RDGE knew that Iceborn Ready were not going to have a majority share of the members. They bring all 5, they wombo combo it out, they take the victory, and now you get Shove Prio. Chili Blue also able to lock down 1 more kill in that fight, and now means that the split push monster is going to be available.
Yeah, that is a scary Gwen in the top lane here. 30 CS lead, 2-0. And look at this. So CG just cannot step up. And this is what one of the most slipperiest, like, neutralizing characters as well. A Smokey going in instantly, valking forward, and Hexify, he does have the dash. Oh, he uses it to go back in. Curry and Mayweather are on the side, but Hexify should be able to reach the tower.
I think, you know, Hexify is sitting in a position where you don't have to all out win. You know your character is going to scale later, and as long as your team doesn't fight terribly, you're always going to have it in with the fated seal. It's with the fates sealed. It's going to be good either way. But you don't want to give kills over to a Corki at this point in time. You don't want to give Corki a chance to scale up ever faster, especially with that Cole. It's going to nullify any sort of lead you were thinking of having. Dragon number 2 though is going down. Iceborn Ready saying that is going to be ours, which I think is very, very appropriate for themselves. And you call down as well a little bit of a challenge. I believe that is going to be the Chemtech Dragon. A little bit of extra team fight, I want to say opportunities with the soul.
Yeah, so CG's getting all in once again. The second needlework land, and the third one while he's going away, the fadeaway scissors ends up getting the kill. That's the second one now onto CG.
Man, I like how I was talking about, hey, you know, there are no good matchups for a Gwen. There are no matchups that, you know, it's really favored, but Chili is saying it doesn't matter. I countered the Gragas I knew was going to come, and now all of a sudden I have 4 plates to my name. Chili Blue coming out with a little bit of steam and saying, hey, I'm going to chug along.
Yeah, he's really carrying this game so far. Even the pressure that he's applying to keep Bel'Veth away from the souls on the top side of the map with those objectives is just so huge here. And I think it might be the linchpin that might give them this game.
Honestly, I'm taking a look and I'm wondering exactly who is going to be CCing down a lot of this Gwen that we mentioned before. I mean, because on RDGE's side, so far they're not playing like an 0-3 squad. They're playing like a squad that's fighting for their playoff spot, and I really, really like it. Hexify, though, realizing you might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, Mayweather coming in and up to dash with the knockup. Hexify uses the ulti, but is going to end up going down. Mayweather played that beautifully, but now EQ coming in with the spin and bonks the Bel'Veth down to the ground.
Very nicely done to be able to trade out, and even though it's a small piece of that puzzle, a 1-for-1 trade does give Smokey a chance to push in as well. Remember, no TP on Hexify, and that's why EQ has to stay in this mid lane, has to clear the wave.
Yeah, as soon as Iceborn make a move, Rubber Ducky is ready, and they get the counter gank instantly to trade it back. They are really in it this game, you know? They are believing that they can win, that they can topple the first seed in the division.
And granted, this is game 1. I don't know if it's going to change in games 2. Honestly, I'm worried about this Gragas pickup. I wonder if CG hasn't played Gragas as much and was just like, hey, I want to give it a shot today. You know, we're 3-0. We have plenty of games to work with. So, you know, I'm not completely sold on it. Mayweather as well. This Bel'Veth looking a little bit rough at 1 and 2. 10 CS behind, so that's about 2.5 camps or so. I'm curious to see where it plays out and how it's going to play out, as now we get the top laners now rotated towards the bottom lane to maybe give a chance over to the bottom laners to rise up to the top.
Yeah, the lane swap here coming out as the Herald itself is up too. So I know Mayweather's got his eyes on it. We'll see if they can maybe contest it. Some of these teamfight ultimates from both EQ and Hexify are gone, so they do have a little bit of an interval if they want to try and go for it.
A little bit of a dunk topside though. Husky in trouble.
Yeah, Pupnoofer lands the knockup. Husky can't really move. EQ does not have the ulti to secure the kill, and now they're on the run. Here comes Mayweather, the Glacial Fissure, the Encore with a little bit of a setup as Chili Blue is now in the back lines. Mayweather is trying to 1v4 by himself. Kiri's gonna end up going down. The Needlework is doing so much damage. Husky Templar is next on the kill. That's a triple kill, I believe, for CG. Oh, or for Chili Blue, my bad. Now Pupnooster just gonna slowly have to get out here, and no Penta, I think, just yet, but great damage so far.
This can be chased, by the way. Smokey has red. They can chase this if Smokey opts to, but I don't think you can fully challenge the likes of a Rakan and Seraphine. And once again, RDGE are the first ones on the move. In that fight, what were we missing? One player from Iceborn Ready. This time it was Smokey that wasn't in the fight. Last time it was Husky Templar. RDGE are finding Iceborn Ready when they aren't prepared, and that is causing a lot of devastation in these team fights. Iceborn Ready got to start rotating people. They have to realize that they can't fight these 5v4 and get away with it.
Yeah, and you know that Gwen had just hit one item for that fight too, so she was just in prime position to take over, and that's exactly what Chili Blue did. The Needlework hit so many people. The AoE was insane in that fight, following up off of the Encore from Console Diana too, which was really great. Insane turn to keep him in the lead in this game.
And now you have to look a little bit further in, because Mayweather and the rest of the squads are just like, hey, we need to get victories on the board. Dragon's gonna be up in 20 seconds. It's been our win con for the most of the time, but I don't know if you can fight it. 3k difference for RDGE, and they've already gone back and spent the gold. So next Dragon is gonna be pretty rough to fight for, and I don't even know. All they have is a ward on their own side. They don't really have much else in terms of keeping eyes on the enemy team.
Yeah, it's pretty rough now, especially as all the teamfight elements are coming back. It's just Console Diana's that's almost going to be back up. I feel like you're in a decent position with the two dragons too. I think you just have to give it at this point.
This is going to be... I think it's just going to be dangerous. Really, it's going to depend on Sosiji. Can you run interference? Can you keep Chili Blue out of the fight? And is it going to work? Mayweather, though, getting a little bit caught.
Yeah, Mayweather thought he was catching someone, but gets caught himself, and he's instantly going down, and Kiri is following suit here. They tried to fight Puppy, not gonna end up going down in the end. He's gonna live, and now Smokey in the thick of it. Everyone's just gonna be walking away, but with the jungler down, that means Dragon is going to Rubber Ducky.
I just don't know what's going on here. It feels like things are being forced. Iceborn Ready feel like they're on the losing end, which they are, don't get me wrong. But you're not waiting for the rest of the team, and you're not waiting to group up. I'm surprised this is happening, but RDGE, they know how to punish mistakes, and they're doing it quite well.
Yeah, you know, Mayweather just went in thinking he has a damage to just solo people, but the Bel'Veth is not there yet. They haven't been utilizing their stacks, not been getting the Grubs or Herald or anything like that. This Bel'Veth is a lot weaker than maybe what you see in those highlight reels.
Of course, the highlight reels only happen once in a while. You gotta play to maximum perfection if you want that. Iceborn Ready, though, still may have a chance. 5k down at 18.5 minutes. It doesn't look great, but you got the Corki, and no matter what, I always believe in a Corki at this point. You can do a lot of work with that champion. EQ, though, going ahead, picking up their buff, getting it for the rest of the team, and this Wukong has done a decent job of maintaining their edge, maintaining their lead in the camp count.
Yeah, and this Herald has been up for a while. It is going to end up going down. Mayweather is not going to be able to pick up the stacks from it. I think they're going to try to go for it now. Actually, they do have a little timer, but Hexify, if he finds out, he might come and say something about it.
Yeah, this is I'm a little bit scared. Hexify, though, and EQ might be on the wrong side of the rift.
Yeah, Mayweather going in once again with full confidence, but now he's got the team.
Oh, what a
behind him.
catch!
A great ultimate by Hexify. So many shields, but he still ends up going down. The encore onto 4. And just like that, here comes EQ, just spinning around everybody. Do they have the damage? So Mayweather gets 2, Mayweather gets 3, and it's going to be Smokey finishing that off. And with the great combos, they still end up losing the fight, and Iceborn gets a huge win.
Well, guess what? Iceborn just gave RDGE a taste of their own medicine. Let's be honest. RDGE were in no position to bring that fight around. Chili Blue, the one that has 6 kills for the team, wasn't available, couldn't TP in at an optimal spot, decided to run straight through mid. And because of that, RDGE went a little bit too far. Remember, they may have a lot of kills, but a majority share of those are on Chili Blue. If Chili Blue isn't there, that 5v4 is dastardly difficult to get over. So well won by Iceborn Ready.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The CC was there, but the damage wasn't. So you saw all those low health bars on the side of Iceborn. All it needed was some scissors to finish them off, but it was just on the other side of the map.
So I'm just, oh man. I'm taking a look at things, and I'm seeing that this Baron is still on the table. And granted, the Dragon went over to RDGE, but still, Iceborn Ready after that win and getting a couple kills down into Mayweather, as you mentioned, and also one into Smokey. Smokey now has a Triforce completed. We'll be building out that Manimune, I think, here in just a little bit. That Corki will start hitting extremely hard.
Yeah, but I still feel like they've got to find an answer for Chili Blue here. Chili Blue can use... Oh, Hexify actually going in on Smokey, but the team is nearby. Can Smokey even get out, though? Hexify lands the knockup once again, but on the other side, you got EQ with the knockup, too. Mayweather playing back in and out.
Oh.
TP coming in. Console Diana just going to come here and just calm things down.
One of the big things right there, Husky Templar did use the Chain of Corruption, which I think will be up just in time for Dragon. But overall, well done with the catch. We're seeing these stat checks come out, and Hexify, honestly, I think if you expended ult, that would be a difference. However, Husky realizing that this is a chance to kill Hexify went a little bit too far.
Yeah, he's gonna come back to his soul. He has to do it, but
wow.
the arrow does not hit. But on the other side, can they even kill Chili Blue? They're gonna try it, but the needlework, he's going for the CG. There's 3 people down here now. Chili Blue, the monster in the top lane, can he be taken down? Shut down to Corki.
That is huge, honestly. Chili Blue did everything right there. Tried to fight it out, got collapsed on, fought hard. Mayweather and Sosiji were absolutely dead, but Smokey with the jump forward said, yes, I am going to help out. And now you have a massive influx of gold. I think there was a good 400 gold bounty on top of that. So Smokey getting to recall. There it is, completed. All the mana in the world. You also have not Grievous, Sword Shoes. Brain doesn't want to work. You have the ability to slow down and deal with that tenacity in the slow, so you're going to be just fine. 2-item power spike. Merc Treads, that's the name.
Yeah, and with that, you know, Iceborn are pretty much back into this game, right? It's a 1.5k gold lead, but specifically that huge shutdown onto Corki, I think the gold is just in the right place for this upcoming Dragon. They're going to be looking for Soul Point. They're getting control of this river now.
Yeah, this is okay. So this is the point right now. Iceborn Ready have been given an opportunity to fight back, and they need to fight hard. They've been able to close that 5k down to 1, and this next team fight I think is going to make or break it all.
Yeah, Puppy does not let them knock. Instantly deleted. A combo onto EQ. Mayweather is going to be able to get out, but Sosiji, he's got the barrels, a little bit of poke left and right, and the damage from Husky pushes the monkey out of the river. So now all the control of the Dragon is theirs.
I'm so worried right now. This is starting to turn into an Iceborn Ready victory. And RDGE, they had everything going for them here in the early stages, but they let these team fights slip out of their control. On Soul Point now means in about 5 minutes, Iceborn Ready have a free team fight available to them. So using the next few minutes, I fully expect them to take up some of that standing gold that's available. They've yet to knock down a tower. I want to see them take those towers very quickly and then stock up on that gold once again. You can see, so CG needs to go back and buy. Same with the likes of Husky, who is 2 items deep.
Yeah, and just looking at the builds here too, right? The Corki and the Varus, they have so much burst between them. So if Rakan doesn't get a good engage, they are literally just instantly decimated, and we saw that happen right there.
Yeah, this is going to be Oh man, this is gonna be dangerous. I was worried about the Rakan as well. You don't really have amazing follow-up unless Hexify and EQ are there. But so far, we've seen that disjointedness from both squads, actually. So I want to see both teams really be able to ramp up, had that perfect team fight. But this is going to be a one-on-one. Good sidestep.
Wow, Husky with the dance moves there, but he cannot escape Rakan, and Console Diana just picks up the kill in the mid lane. A little bit random. He does end up going down.
I do like the fact that you attempted to try the arrow, but honestly the arrow is actually what killed Husky, so having that kill opportunity means maybe Console, Diana, and the rest of EQ and the team can look for a kill. Mayweather actually jumps in.
Yeah, just hovering around, making sure nothing else is too crazy here. But Chili Blue, he forces Sasiji out of lane there with the trades and then ends up picking up the tower here. He's more than 50 CS up on this Gragas. He needs to keep pushing this lead and prove his worth in his team fights to make sure to try and pull Rubber Ducky to a victory.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. And I mean, for Rubber Ducky, they need to have Chili Blue with them at all times. That's really my goal here. If they want to do anything, they need the likes of Chili Blue available, and they need to be able to have a good team fight setup. Hexify already is on the 2-item power spikes. You have that Immortal Shield bow in there, which should keep you alive quite a long time. I just want to see the team fight go off without a hitch. That's all I really want to see right now. With Baron available though, Iceborn ready, moving their entire warding path up there does give me reason that they're going to try and do this in the next minute or two. Actually, right now.
Yeah, right away, but the team is ready. Chili Blue has TP as well as Puppy. He's found out. They know they're on the Baron, but they're still gonna stay on it. They want to fight right here, right now, as Sosiji is pushing them away, learning to look for something. They peel off, they force the TP. Mayweather is slowly getting collapsed on. Can EQ find the combo? Not really. They do get the TP out of Chili Blue, though.
And when you draw that TP, Chili Blue now has to make a decision. Are you going to go to the side lanes or not? Are you going to play with the rest of the team? And you can see this kind of fierce push. Let's jump forward though, Chili Blue.
Yeah, nothing just yet. But now you see Rakan is caught out once again. Pup news to he sees a bit of them, but Husky is still free hitting. Great Soul Unbound on the other side. So CG disrupts, but he ends up going down to the needlework, and now Husky is running for his life. Hexify, he's pushing in the wave, and suddenly Rubber Ducky Gaming is back on top, and they're heading to Baron.
Oh my gosh, well done to RDGE. We mentioned this wombo combo having everyone available, and that's exactly what they did. Had their star members, and they were able to fight. Now Smokey is trying to run interference with Husky.
Yeah, they do have a lot of poke between them, but there is some sustain from Console Diana that's just going to allow them to stay healthy. As you see Hexify landing the combo onto Husky, forcing the flash out of him, but he's going to keep chasing with the Soul Unbound, the flash Q, he lands the knockup, he lands the kill. Hexify has slain Husky.
And all of a sudden, Iceborn ready. I did say I was hoping that their lane matchups would win, but these champions are some that do fall behind a little bit too quickly. Mayweather 4-5-3 hasn't had the best engages, hasn't had the best time trying to lay down the damage. But RDGE, their entire composition, they're landing the wombos when they need to. They only had a slight hiccup. By the way, they're right back to the 5k difference that we saw earlier now. And not only that, you have Baron on your Gwen. You don't even have to worry about that TP any longer. Any lane you go to for RDGE is going to be a push lane.
Yeah, and getting this Baron right before the dragon comes up in 30 seconds is paramount. They'll get the push so easily within the waves. Iceborn can't really contest it, and they're going to start getting this vision down already onto the river.
Are they going to challenge it though? Iceborn ready are looking like they want to challenge, but I don't think you can. I mean, I saw Mayweather looking around, but I think you also realize that, yeah, this can be dangerous. Hard push into the mid. RDGE gonna take this one nice and easy, not a problem in the world.
Yep, gonna be moving over to the Chemtech Dragon now. Iceberg not really in a position to contest. I would have liked to see someone at least push out that top lane, maybe get that top tower, but maybe they were a little bit indecisive, and that's gonna end up costing them here, as now you get a second dragon onto the side of Rubber Ducky Gaming.
Oh, yep. This is going to be All right, so this is good. This is good. I like this. Iceborn ready, trying to slow things down, trying to get more farm into the carriers right now. But RDGE are going to start forcing the issue. They have another minute left, a minute and a half, I believe, on Baron. You got time to push, and you're going to be perfectly okay with it. So CG though, you can't be here. You went with a little bit more tank build, which again gives you kind of suboptimal in everything. But you're doing what a Gragas is supposed to do, trying to play a disruption game.
Yep, but there is actually a decent amount of wave clear, but the Baron buff just nullifies a lot of it. A little bit of damage going here and there. There are 6 grubs on their side too, which makes the push so good, as Chili Blue slowly getting some damage onto the mid turret as well. Ooh, yeah,
I'm just
top turret
wondering.
destroyed.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see how well this goes. They're still trying to put 4 here, so we'll slowly break, but keep in mind, no one is answering Smokey on the top end. Smokey might actually get 2 freestanding tower gold pieces. Hexify, though, jumping in.
Yeah, the Encore is stopped, but the Soul Unbound is hit. Mayweather is in the thick of it. Husky is free hitting. EQ does get the kill onto Sosiji here, but the Wombo combo is just too good on the side of Rubber Ducky Gaming. Mayweather does get the reset here. Can he bring this back for the team? But Constantine just going to be for now. But yeah, Chili Blue not in the fight, has broken open the enemy base.
What is going on here, Karthik? What are we watching? Iceborn ready, we thought are the team that is ahead most times, that they're number 1, and they are in the rankings, and yet it feels like they're getting stomped. Maybe an overreach with some of the champions they picked up, maybe not as practiced as they thought. But it does feel like RDGE have gotten their wits about them. If they win here, remember, they have a pretty tough schedule. They got to play XG Raiden later on in this regular season. And we said the upset would be very, very important. If they can do it here, this is game 1. If they can do it one more time, they're looking pretty dang good heading into these final weeks.
And just looking at how easy it is going to be for them, the Gwen has scaled up through to 3 items. Hexify, he's got 3 items as well. Picking up the shield bow and the dead stance makes him hard to just one-shot with what the enemy team wants to do as well. I think this is just so good. They're in a great position right now. They cannot throw this. They need to get the win.
Yep, this is gonna be an all or nothing. I feel at the end of the day, this is gonna be an all or nothing for either Baron or Dragon. I mean, there's a 20-second difference between the two, so you could have one and then the other. RDGE have plenty of damage to work with. Smokey though still farming up 302 in the CS numbers, 3 items deep. At what point do you become this giant disaster of a champion? When do you start decimating opponents with just a few auto attacks? That's what we're wanting for. There's been such a leniency given from Iceborn ready to Smokey.
Yeah, and they're doing their homework, right? They're finished all the towers outside the base. There's just this one left, so they're kind of grouping up for it, making sure that Chili Blue doesn't get collapsed upon or anything. And yeah, kind of just waiting it out. They're not in too much of a rush either, with the dragon coming up soon too.
And I wonder, really, like, what do you apply for here? Do RDGE apply for that Baron? Just, I mean, they have the vision for it, but you have the idea, or do you just go for the dragon? At this point, they're going to recall. They have plenty of time to get back out on the rift, by the way. But Iceborn ready, they have to realize they can only really contest for 1. If they contest for Baron, they lose out on a pretty hefty dragon afterwards, or the game itself if you lose at Baron. If you go to Dragon, you run the risk, you run the obvious risk of running into all 5. So for Iceborn ready, you have to pick your battles very carefully here. Do you get Baron to be able to fight a Dragon, or do you give the Dragon possibility in favor of fighting over this Baron?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's Rubber Ducky can choose whatever they want. They can honestly just get both at this point. I think their main thing is just try and force on one side, make the enemy team respond, and use those wombo combos. Even in that last fight, it was pretty close with Chili Blue not even being there. Imagine if that Gwen is there to finish off with like a flank or anything, it would just be over for Iceborn.
I mean, there's so many things that they have to be worried about. Of course, I don't think you want to run right in 4 members alive here and curled up, ready to duke it out. I'm waiting. Smokey is now level 17. This is about as strong as Corky is going to get. I mean, how much longer can you wait for the DPS to start rolling in?
Yeah, I just want to say Smokey has been doing a great job of catching waves. Getting 324 CS in such a chaotic game is not easy to do. He has 3.5 items right now. If Iceborn have a win condition anywhere, it has got to be from him.
Let's see if they can do a little bit more. Of course, I want to see him fight hard. Hexify does get tagged up ever so slightly. I mean, is it going to be enough right now. RDGE, are they going to give it, by the way? Iceborn, I really wanted to see them fight around the dragon, but again, maybe they don't feel ready for it. Are they going to trade it out for Baron instead?
I mean, I don't think Rubber Ducky should give them an inch of space anywhere. Go where the enemy team is going. Try and pick that fight, you know? I like what they're doing here. Hexify is going onto the dragon. He has to teleport if needed. While now Iceborn, they're starting up the Baron.
I mean, the Baron's going to be really, really tricky because Yone can do it all on their own. The Dragon's already taken. Hexify have gotten everything that they wanted, and you called it. Apply the pressure. It's a very, very appropriate. Now, RDGE have everything in their own lane. They just need to close this one out. 5K still between the two teams does mean, as you said, Iceborn are farming up well. But I don't know if they are fully ready. 3 items deep though for Mayweather, able to break through the shield, plus having a Wit's End behind means that the Seraphine won't do too much damage. Same with the Gwen. This Gwen that we mentioned before, having such a large percentage of kills, actually hasn't gotten any in the last few moments. Even though there's 17 on the board, those initial 6 that they had, that they were 6-0-0 at one point, I think they've actually scaled off 1 and 3 with the deaths and assists.
Yeah, and I gotta commend their macro here, right? They played that beautifully, choosing the right person to go solo the dragon while still pressuring the enemy team off the Baron. It was just so wonderfully played. Like, Rubber Ducky, I don't know how they lost their other games, but they are really showing up today. I can see that they've improved a lot, and they want to make a deep run in this league.
I absolutely think they can, as well as they should. I mean, it's somewhat strength of schedule as well, by the way. One of the big things is RDGE, they are by no means secured into a playoff spot, but if they win here and they win the next 2, which can be difficult, but it's doable. If they win here plus week 6 and week 7,
I'm gonna have to
they have a shot. Oh boy,
is going in. EQ pulling out all the stops, and we see the wombo combos coming in, the glacial fissure, the soul unbound. It's just a mess as the encore comes out, blocked by the shield. Kiri is doing so much work, but Rubber Ducky is just too strong here. Chili Blue has arrived, and he is chasing them down. Calto down and picks up the kill onto the Varus, and now they're gonna run it down mid. See if they can finish off this game right here, right now.
Oh wow, wild stuff here, and I was just talking about it. RDGE know that their hopes align with trying to beat the #1 seed, and for Iceborn ready, they got one more chance. Smokey's the last line of defense.
Yeah, Smokey's farmed up the entire game. Can he get this wave? Can he keep his base alive? But they are flashing off instantly. Hexify is on the hunt. Pupnu gonna end up going down, but Hexify is keeping him busy while the team is on the base. The Nexus is left on the cards here. There's nothing Smokey can do. Rubber Ducky have taken a game off the top team in the league.
You know, I have a feeling there were some possibilities that top lane was a little bit of an issue. So CG did not look comfortable. At the same time, the Yone came out to great effect. RDGE had the draft. They knew what they needed to do to win. They took control of the early game, really built on top of some of those mistakes that were made in the early game that gave them a fighting lead. You saw them up multiple goals. You can see that gold spike from about 4.5K right there in about 18 minutes. They knew what they had to do, so I appreciate that factor. Looking on the side of Iceborn ready, they were not ready for this game. I hate saying it, they were not ready. They got the Corki. After that, that was like it. They didn't have any other plan, it felt like.
Yeah, for sure. I think they kind of experimented with a few picks there with that Gregus and the Bel'Veth. Didn't really pan out as expected. You can see the damage graphs there kind of really telling the story. Bel'Veth with 8.7k damage is just not it. So we'll have to see if they can turn it around in another game, right? Like, I'm sure there are other picks that these guys are solid with. They are top of the league for a reason. So I want to see what else they can show. This is a best of 3 series. It is by no means over yet.
Oh, not at all. This is going to be really, I want to say testing the waters. This is going to be a little bit messy either way. I fully expect the Gragas to be out. If it goes in the Gragas, I believe Mayweather might play it in the jungle. It just does not look comfortable topside, especially blind pick. So we'll see if that changes. Yeah,
for sure. And with that, we'll go to a quick little break, and we'll be back for game 2 to see if Iceborn can claw it back, show their champion status, or if we're going to see a crazy upset tonight. Hello everyone, we are back. We just had an upset of a game here, Orbital. Iceborn Ready just got taken down by Rubber Ducky in convincing fashion there. What just happened?
I think it felt like they picked champions that they weren't comfortable with. Number one, the Corki, the Varus, the Braum all worked out. I think they did what they were supposed to. However, when you let a Gwen get ahead that far, even though the Gwen can sometimes have just kind of rough matchups and everything like that, if given any sort of lead, it can roll through a game. And the Gragas just is not the right tank for that job. You saw the itemization into the Fimble Winter and everything like that. It didn't feel great at the end of the day. So for Iceborn Ready, I expect them to pick something else top side. I expect them to have a little bit more agency up there as well. Something with a little bit more early game dueling potential and something that I think your CG is comfortable with.
And I love to see that Gwen being taken off the board, the Seraphine being taken off the board. It's clear that Iceborn Ready were not ready for those picks here. So good to see those niche champs they are not quite sure how to deal with. Try and bring it back to some of those conventional games where they found that they could do better than their opponents in those past few weeks.
Yep, this is going to be a little bit of evidence. Wow, triple ban in, but RDGE had the Corki as well, and now it's on Iceborn to try and figure out how they're going to deal with this. It's a weird swap. Triple banning out what worked in game number one leaves so much of a gap, and RDGE snap up on that immediately.
Yeah, Corki is just the king in this meta right now. It seems like both teams think that, and we'll see what Rubber Ducky can do with it. But Iceborn,
wow,
first pick of Felios.
I like it. It's a big swap up. It's straight up DPS. So at least for Iceborn, you're going to be pretty comfortable with that. You're also assuming that RDGE are not comfortable in the bot lane, right? We talked about Console Diana. Maybe Console Diana doesn't really play ADCs as much. I mean, the Seraphine looked great. Don't get me wrong. But you're going all in on this aggression. So putting a lot of leniency down in the bottom lane for Iceborn.
Yeah, it's just crazy to see Aphelios instead of some of those more meta ADCs that we've been seeing recently. But hey, maybe Iceborn have a trick up their sleeve. I do like the Nautilus to help bring some balance to the composition, a little bit of peel, a little bit of engage.
And maybe you get a little bit more. RDGE though, I wouldn't be upset if you grab the Braum yourself. You're gonna go with the Rakan though, and keep in mind the Rakan was amazing. We didn't even touch on that a lot of the time. I didn't give a lot of credit, I think, appropriately over to Pup. Pup was amazing on the Rakan. Very, very well done. The engagements were good. So yeah, sometimes a little bit rough. Don't get me wrong. There was a dive in there, I think, right around a dragon fight that was just like, oh, that wasn't good. But it worked out well. The Rakan was able to deny a lot of those fights. The Xin Zhao though, this is going to be a fun one. This was banned out in game number one. Iceborn didn't want to see it. They're seeing it now.
Yeah, and I think Xin Zhao is so good in this meta too. You can really take that early game to your advantage, and it's going to be the Wukong coming on the other side. I think these are just very similar identities, right? Xin and Wukong both just want to fight. They want to get into the thick of it, and I think Xin is a little bit stronger early. Oh, he switched it up to the Udyr. But yeah, still similar kind of matchup, a little bit of different type of damage coming in, but same kind of thing. You want to get into the thick of it and create space for your team.
And I see this coming out. Once again, this feels very early game centric. This is very, I'm going to bully out, and it's going to be a one-way trip. The Udyr does very well in just storming over the rest of the team, so I like it. I like the pickup. Iceborn now banning out a lot of those mid lane counterparts, though. Still, which is kind of surprising. They are saying the Corki might be rolling into the bot side, which it can flex very easily. But the Hwei being banned away still synergizes pretty well with the fact that the Xin Zhao can take over a match. Surprisingly, the Gragas though, I have a feeling RDGE saying we didn't really have any other answer except the Gwen. If we let the Gragas do again, it's going to disrupt all of our plans.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, you got some AP already with the Udyr too. I feel like you kind of would have wanted them to have it, but it's going to be ended up banning out. But on the other side, the Hwei that was banned out in the first phase last game, and the Jax, which is, I think, just a super strong OP top laner right now. So I like the bans from Iceborn.
But this is still going to require, I feel, either a blind pick or so. But if you pick up mid here, you run the risk of getting counterpicked. I mean, if Corki goes down bot, it makes sense. So, hey, do you want to take that chance? I mean, the Ahri is still up and available. If you're comfortable, you can use that Ahri, rotate with the Udyr, and really break out. Granted, if it's a Corki mid, it's a problem. So you're going to go with the Nico, a little bit longer range, good damage scaling as well, and can actually clear waves almost as fast as a Corki.
And the Nico, I think, really helps follow up on the engage of the other teams, right? And it's something that is kind of short range enough that the Zinza ultimate doesn't cancel too much of her damage. I think that's really where Zinza finds value in the late game. He's strong in the late game if the carries are longer range, but he can really just get blown up by Nico.
Oh, wow. And there it is. A little bit of a Silas pick. Oh, that was just a hover. Oh, that's
Baited.
yeah. I have that happen a lot to me. But there's a Xayah. This one does make sense. The Seraphine is safe. Xayah's pretty safe as well. This is much more in line with what we might have been able to see in game number 1. Very safe play, just have that Featherstorm up and available, and it synergizes well with Rakan. You get a lot of extra damage. Right now, though, there is going to be that blind pick top lane that we mentioned before, and this time it's RDGE that has to deal with it. They had the Gwen last time, but Iceborn already are going to have the chance at a counter pick here, and the Renekton is one geared straight towards early game. Right now, RDGE leaning very heavily into the fact that they can win these lane matchups.
Yeah, I really like how they rounded out this draft, right? You mentioned the early game. It's so good. Oh, please lock in the Malphite. But I won't say anything till it is. It is really good. And you got Corki for that late game insurance when it does go there. So a lot more balance of a draft this time around.
I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, Malphite, I think, loses a little bit too hard. Malphite's great in solo queue. Don't get me wrong. It's so much fun.
Oh,
but
yes.
the Cassante would... Oh, my gosh. Okay. Alawi coming out here. Oh, boy. Xin Zhao and Renekton are not going to have a good time.
It's so good. I'm a big Alawi fanatic. You see it so rarely, but I think this is a pretty good occasion for it as well. If Renekton doesn't bully out this Alawi before 6, then Alawi will just actually start winning fights against the Croc. She'll want the Xin Zhao to gank, and she'll just 1v2 them both. This will be a menace on the side lanes if it can get going. So we'll have to see if they can pilot it. I'm happy to see it. I love these last 2 picks, you know, the Nico and the Alawi, throwing some curveballs into the mix and trying to bring back that next game.
Yeah, I actually really agree with the fact that you just mentioned the Nico. This is, again, a stylized difference. Corki is great as just an overall DPS master. That's why you grab the Corki. It's just raw damage overall. One of my issues I've always had with Corki, though, one, it takes time to scale up, but it is just that. It is raw damage. And granted, raw damage in a team fight aspect is great if you have CC in other areas. But I will always prioritize CC over everything else. I am a player and I am a caster that loves seeing CC. I am a wholehearted believer in CC wins games. Nico is the pinnacle of damage and CC all in the same bucket. Like, Syndra has damage and CC, but Nico, the Pop Blossom, this extra damage of the ultimate, full CC, full rooting potential, this combined with the Alawi, with the Nautilus, with the Udyr, this is also a wombo combo from hell, plus extra damage with the follow-up. Iceborn ready. There was not a glimmer of any real composition that I saw from game number 1. This is the Iceborn ready that most likely was seen in weeks 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, this game is honestly so exciting. We'll have to see how well these picks can be piloted, and I think it's up to them to see who can end up winning this game. So we're going to get right into that after just a little break and a word from our sponsor, ProComps.
Keep moving on. And they say I have a grim sense of humor.
Hello everyone, I hope you're excited for this game too. We got Rubber Ducky Gaming versus Iceborn. Rubber Ducky took game 1 and we're going to see if they can take it all the way and pull off the big upset, or if Iceborn is going to flex their muscles and show them how they have been undefeated so far.
Yeah, this is also, I feel, a drastically different composition from game number 1. One of my critiques of Iceborn and Ready's composition in game 1, very little CC. It felt like they had no way to really lock down the opponent, and all they really had was a Braum, which did work. It did work to a certain extent, but it didn't do enough. And now you've gone practically the other direction. Indirect slows you have, or I wanted to say indirect CC with the slows, with just the raw damage and with the Alawi tentacles. And then you have the raw CC. You come in with the Nico, with the Aphelios, if you have the Graviton. You have the Nautilus, which is the CC, one of the CC tanks. I mean, everything about them screams, we're buckling down. We sat up in our gamer chairs and we're ready to battle.
Yeah, for sure. And I really do love the draft that's come out here. I love the Alawi pick into the Renekton. We see it super rarely, but I think it can be effective if Sosiji can play the Alawi, can hit the tentacles, especially the E to grab the vessel, then it is really hard for Renekton to play later in this lane.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. Granted, if Chili Blue can pull off a fight like they did in game 1, take control early on, it'll be big. But for Husky Templar and Kirby on the bot side,
the Ignite,
oh my god,
Pencil Diana is on the hunt.
Oh my god,
follow, just like that. First blood from Rubber Ducky once again.
This is out of control. This is a completely different squad. Like, this is... What is going on? Console Diana and Pop, I was worried about game 1, seeing that Seraphine is so good. And now on the Xayah and Rakan, remember, Rakan gets extra damage output, extra feathers every time Xayah has her W up as well. So you have this extra damage output that I'm pretty sure, frankly, surprised Kiri.
Yeah, like Kiri just hooks in without really any regard. They're not understanding the power of the Xayah Rakan level 1. It is one of the strongest duos in the game. If they can start W and both auto you, that damage output was insane. And it's going to be the first blood, giving them the huge edge in this lane.
Oh, well, Chili's also trying to do some work on the top side, but this damage output is a little bit different.
Yeah, so CG is going to be okay for now, but they are going to be a little limping. She is in the tentacle zone, so going to get some really good damage off back onto Chili Blue too.
Yeah, this is also Smokey. Not enjoying this mid lane. Hexify is also doing a lot of work in maintaining an edge with this Corki. Chili, unfortunately, stuns up a minion. Poor minions didn't deserve that.
Oopsie, but now it's gonna be Smokey or Hexify going in onto Smokey, and just like that, that's the Corki just valking over, showing the early prowess of Corki here, and Smokey just gets taken down.
What is going on here? Honestly, I do not know. Don't bring another fight. Well, granted, this time Mayweather's here.
We're going for another fight. That's a great stun to help them get away, but Mayweather is here.
Oh, EQ's here.
On the other side, is he gonna flash in? The counter gang has arrived, and now they are a little bit rude up. Mayweather going in for some reason, but instantly gets punished for it. Console Diana gets a kill, and now they're looking once again here. Pup with a great knockup once again, and Fury is going to pay the price.
RDGE, what have you done for the last 4 weeks? And in turn, you are smacking the first seed of this tournament. Right now, this is out of control. Iceborn already are looking golden, or looking actually like shattered pieces on the ground. I said golden, they were looking golden in the earlier set of this tournament, and now they're just on the weak side.
Yeah, that is crazy to see what has occurred here. Xayah getting some kills and Corki getting some kills. It's just so perfect. The gold is just in the right place so far too, and she's coming back with the pickaxe now. And just look at how Hexify is running this lane. He's not afraid at all. My god, the jukes like Michael Jackson to dodge out on all the abilities there.
Yeah, not just that, I also want to point out Chili Blue is listed as a sub for the roster, so not even the regular top laner, and yet has stood the test of time. Granted, the CS numbers are drastically different this time around. You can see down about a wave and a half, so CG is doing well in this top lane, but needs to do better if you want this Alawi off the ground, because the rest of the lanes are not faring nicely.
Yeah, I think Sasiji needs to be a carry threat in this game if they're going to stand any chance with the kind of gold lead that's come across already. And they are doing it pretty well. This is Alawi's weakest state of the game. She has to get through her apparently rough early game, but they've been playing it really well. Once they get one item and a few levels, Chili can't just run up like this, but he's going to try his luck now. Just going to be dashing out after. But the Vessel, he's going to go back in, make sure it doesn't go down.
Mm-hmm. I think you're more than happy about that one. Chili Blue, though, no wards on this lane, so might actually be in a spot of trouble with no flash available.
Yeah, and now Mayweather is
level
around the side here. He's hit level 6. He's got the dominance on lock. So CG's going to walk out, but can he get around? The Phoenix Fire doing so much damage, but Chili Blue is going to stay alive and survive the gank.
That's huge. That is massive right now, and Smokey's about to go down again.
Yeah, the flash follow Hexify with the kill across the map. The domination. Chili Blue gets out. Hexify gets a kill, and the bot lane and the jungler finish up a dragon for themselves too.
This is everything going the way of RDGE, and now they're going to actually chase off the likes of Mayweather. Mayweather was low earlier. EQ's going to find him low.
Yeah, they're gonna chase him off their grubs here, and oh my god, Mayweather can't do anything. He's forced to back off, and EQ is gonna make sure to get the grubs here as well. They are taking over this game.
And I like this fact. Remember, in game number 1, it was a trade. It was dragons for the grubs. And granted, it was still RDGE that came out with all 6 at the end. Now they put themselves in position to get 5. 4 is all they really need here. But remember, this is a great time for them. 5 kills across the entirety. They have a 2.5k lead, or 2k lead. I'm so sorry, I can do math. Chili Blue is able to maintain some semblance of a easy status. I mean, 36 to 37 CS, you are golden. Here's the deal. Hexify and Console Diana are playing much better than I expected. Hexify getting some early kills, whereas Smokey could not in game number 1. Remember that. Now we're seeing that table turn, and we're going to see Hexify really start branching out, helping the likes of EQ start to roam out and take control of more of this game.
Yeah, and honestly, it is so scary if Hexify is doing this much with Corki already. He has not scaled it all yet, so when that first item is going to be finished, Hexify is just going to start one-shotting people already. It is so scary to face him, as now we got a little fight brewing. Puppy going on to Nooster here. Kiri cannot anchor out. He does get a stun off, but does have to flash out in the end. It is so scary for him.
And now it's going to be another answer, though. The Chakums are flying. Husky's got some damage.
Yeah, Husky is looking back as Mayweather's coming around the side. The ult does end up landing, but it's not the right one. It feels like Infernum or anything else, maybe a little bit more damage, but the weapons aren't quite there. So Console is going to get out once again. And honestly, Mayweather has been looking for ganks so much, but hasn't found too much success yet.
I think Mayweather is definitely trying. With this Udyr, it's very linear. You know where they're going to go. Of course, Puppy. Pup saying, I want more. Uh-oh.
Yeah, does he really want that as the Ignite? He's going to end up getting him down. Kiri just barely lives off of the Ignite as well, so a little bit of a consolation for Iceborn. Slowly getting back into it, but the kill's on Kiri.
We did also talk about the fact that both these teams do tend to make a few mistakes when it comes to some of that roaming squad, to some of the lane prowess. That's actually how we saw RDGE come out with such an extended lead in game number 1. And now we're seeing Pup also come into that issue of, hey, I stepped out of lane just a little bit too far, got caught and got punished. We also saw this in game 1 on the recon, decided to jump in, testing the limits a little bit too much. It's only 1 death, so not that bad.
Yeah, you know, but if you have that like crazy energy to look for crazy engages, sometime you'll look a little bit ant. We've seen it with the likes of Hillsang and Mickey, and Pup is following suit as well. But I think we'll see some good engages from him later down the line, just like game 1.
I think we're going to see hopefully a lot greater ones as well, because you have to keep in mind Rakan is diving into a Nautilus, a can be fed Aphelios, and even more so damage, as now they're going to try and pinch this bot side.
Yeah, they're still looking for a fight. Green-white are great weapons as the hook barely does not land. Yeah, they're really trying to take advantage of Xayah just having no mana there, but they're going to get that recall off.
Yep, and not a real problem as well. Remember, you don't pick the Xayah to win lane. I feel like it really is that deterrent factor. So as long as you're staying even, which you currently are, you might go down a plate or two here. But as long as Console Diana is able to play smart, play safe, EQ and the rest of the squad is going to run up that front line, and the Xayah will have all the time in the world come mid to late to fire off those arrows and do a lot more damage.
And now we got a little bit of a lull state here, as some of the neutrals still have to come up. The dragon coming up in a minute, same with the next set of grubs as well. And I think honestly Rubber Ducky are in such a good spot. What a big cancel onto Husky there, just completely ruining his tempo.
That feels rough. That will always feel a little bit rough there. You're like, oh, come on. But for right now, EQ is just going to try and handle business as usual. The still have a lot of camps to go through, 13 in the bucket. Hexify also going for that cold, trying to buff up those CS numbers as much as possible, and you know, it makes the CS worth a little bit more. Chili Blue though saying, I can now outlast the vessel, and that means so CG, you're really just waiting for the extra damage coming through. Is this going to be a slam down though?
Yeah, a little scary here as the vessel does get taken once again. Chili Blue, he's got to back off. He's got to recall here. It's so hard for him to stay alive. But maybe CG just going to push that push wave in, so he's going to be able to just sustain off of a big Q around it all.
And I think, again, you're doing okay. It's not the greatest point in the game, but again, as a Renekton, going up against an Alawi, if you're not dying, I think it's okay. You want to get kills though. You want to get a little bit more lane pressure with the Renekton. Oh, that's a good catch.
Yeah, and great Pop Blossom here. The catch onto Hexify, an additional knock. The flash is interesting, but it is going to be Kiri once again getting the kill.
Yeah, Kiri getting these kills is actually pretty rough here. Smokey, I think, could have had that. But again, it's an Ignite tick. You can't really calculate that as easily as you would like. And considering Hexify did feel like they could flash over the wall, if the Ignite wasn't there, that was going to be a problem. But it is gold, and it is time in this mid lane to be able to press in. And Smokey is going to start looking like a menace with that flash come a little bit later on, as Hextech Dragon is the play for. RDGE, if they get Hextech Soul, by the way, is going to be so happy with this.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, RDG, the path is there, you know. I feel like they can see the roads. It's nicely paved. They just got to follow along and take it all the way to the end to get this upset. But, you know, I don't think Iceborn is just going to let them have it.
I think they're going to be, you know, I think Iceborn ready should be more than available. They had the Wombo, like I said. Bot lane has stabilized a little bit more as well. You already have the collector in hand, so if Husky has the right guns, if you have the chakrams plus a little bit of a sniper or the infernum, you can layer down so much extra damage on top of it that this dragon is going to be null and void. So RDGE do have to play a little bit safe.
Yeah, and you know, like we do see like some of these first items coming off across the board here. We had to see Nico finishing the proto belt before that Triforce. A little bit of an expensive item for the Corki there. Maybe they can find some moments where they can use these first item advantages on almost all their, like everyone other than the support essentially. I feel like they gotta try and look for something to get even further like back in, try and get a lead onto like their mid laners.
I think that's what they're hoping to do either way. Like they're like, yeah, let's get the lead, let's get the junglers in there, let's get the mix. But everywhere does feel a little bit dangerous. Chili Blue, you can see the damage is doing okay, but the trades back and forth are even rougher. So it's like we want to see the mid. And to be fair, Hexify has been winning. You could look towards that mid lane, but for EQ, I don't think you want to look there. You want to try and take down CG, and this is going to be messy.
Yeah, but now here comes EQ. She does have the ultimate. Oh, okay. They force it out just onto one person, so it's not going to be as strong. EQ maybe going to try and go in after, but just going to be walking out now, especially after the vessel is taken. Nothing he can do about it anymore.
The problem as well, you spent so much time up there, and Chili Blue is still in a really, really rough spot. Like, you're still low on HP, so you can't actually contest back. This is allowing Mayweather to actually get a jump onto that mid lane.
Yeah, Mayweather coming in from behind onto Hexify, but the Valkyrie is going to get him to safety. So much damage instantly coming out. And Chili Blue actually looking for the all-in now that the ultimate is gone. So CG is in trouble to sustain. Chili Blue has to dodge all the tentacles. He can play it slow, get some sustain back. He dodges the tentacles once again. It is so close. It's just going to be between them and nothing going to end up going down.
I still think that's a loss. Chili Blue, you went in, lost the HP, and now CG has free push, especially around this dragon.
Yeah, now Kiri's going to look to go in. The minion out of nowhere. Smokey going in with the Pop Blossom, and Hexify has been popped. And now the Flash EQ trying to secure the kill onto Mayweather on the other side. It's going to be the 1-for-1 here as the second round goes in. Hex Templar has red-white guns. He is so strong in this fight. The chakrams are down. The turret is down. Console Diana looking to use the feathers. Oh! Is huge by Console.
You had to see that coming. You had to see that coming from Iceborn ready. And I feel like they knew the feather storm was going to come out, but they thought they could burn through Console Diana so quickly. What looked like a pretty good fight for Iceborn ready with the catch onto Hexify. That was a big starting point. They overstayed. They gave EQ what they wanted, which was a free kill on Mayweather. There was no more burn. Husky didn't have Moonlight Vigil either. It was such a beauty of a play. RDGE finding a little bit of relief. Now getting Console Diana a little bit further ahead. 2-0-4 in this game.
That Blade Storm was immense. If this was like 10 minutes later into the game, Console would have just wiped everyone. And honestly, Xayah scales so well when any team is short range, which basically is the case here. You do have two range characters, but they're not completely like high range either. So I think if Console can pull it off this game, which his mechanics have been shown, it is going to be so hard for Iceborn to play.
I'm also sitting here going, hey, how bad can this go before Iceborn ready start buckling down? They don't feel too far behind. These kills, they don't amount to too much because the gold difference is 1.5 difference. It's not the worst in the world. So you can sit there and go, okay, if we're farming up well, if we take a look at the CS numbers and take a look at what we have, we're doing okay. The problem is if they don't feel that and they don't press their advantages when they need to. So RDGE, they are hoping to play smart. They're hoping to get a little bit more aggressive. Alawi is going to start pushing, but EQ is fading into the right lane, which I think is this bot lane. You mentioned before trying to get kills somewhere. I think it's in the bot lane. Get Console Diana because top lane is already gone. That is written up for Sosiji. But the Dragon is given for free. No way.
Yeah, they're going to be looking to contest as Mayweather's coming around the other side. The hook onto... Oh, the Pop Blossom is huge. Lands onto two people here. Pop going to be going down instantly. They are fish in a barrel for this Aphelios here. The fight is going down. Console is free hitting, but Alawi has arrived as well. It's going to be so much damage from Husky here. That's going to be 2 kills onto him. But here comes the Croc, but he is a little bit too late here. He does end up getting the kill onto Kiri, but Husky is just free hitting. It's going to be a triple kill, a quadra kill for the Aphelios.
Not gonna lie, that is 95% bad for RDGE. The 5% that is good is they got Dragon. They're on Soul Point. But 95% of that was terrible. You got caught out, and honestly, I would also say that was just really well played by Iceborn ready. You had control, so CG was able to recall earlier than Chili Blue. and you immediately fought at the dragon. You got the kills. You got it on a primary member as well, which is Husky Templar, being starved out of kills earlier on, 1, 0, and 2, now picked up 4. You get a go ahead and I believe complete the IE. You're going to be hitting like a freaking truck, a Mack truck at that. And Console Diana, 2, 1, and 6, you're going a little bit safer. You're going into that attack speed route. So the feathers are going to do some work, not enough if you're in a head-to-head battle against the Aphelios.
Yeah, they were just in such a bad position. It was so difficult to play that fight. I think getting soul point by 17 minutes is still so big for them though. Like one of the biggest threats I think on Iceborn is not split pushing Illaoi, but the fact that every 5 minutes you can kind of just like drag them to this big team fight that you can just force them away from getting onto those towers is just so big for them.
Now here's the deal. What I want to see next is going to be RDGE saying, okay, we lost the dragon, but we have soul point. We don't have to get messy with it. We want to play smart and we want to play simple. You don't want to take an uneven fight, which does rely on Chili Blue getting to the fights early. This time around, Chili Blue doesn't have the extended lead that they had on the Gwen. They are going to be a meat shield. That's what I want to see. Hexify is a little bit stronger, isn't going for that mini meme build just yet, has the Triforce instead, and I think it's just going for raw damage output. That's going to be the call down. If you can play it well, if you can rotate everyone together and group up, rebuff the early engagements from Mayweather and Curie, you can output a lot of damage, but you need Chili Blue there to help with the distraction value.
And I think you're in like a little bit of a weird like ticking time bomb here for Rubber Duck. They scale really well in the mid game. The Corki and the Zaya do so much work, but when you do get to that hyper late game, I think that Aphelios and the Illaoi just become way too strong at 5-6 items and just become insanely difficult to deal with. So you kind of want to work up to it. The soul point is working up to that timing really well too, but there is a point where you just have to close it out before they scale up too much.
This is going to be a little bit of a different stance as well. This is RDGE not really feeling like they're going to be in full control either. You just mentioned the fact that that the Illaoi and the Aphelios are going to scale really well. RDGE also have to know that, so they have to play these really, really carefully. And with the Baron coming up next, I expect them to be a little bit more cautious around that fact. EQQ going ahead and completing one item, I think, is hoping to recall in time. I mean, with the vision wards around it, though, take a look at that. Iceborn ready are more than ready for if a sneaky Baron comes out. That is 3 or 4 pink wards available. 5, actually. All 5 are 4, I should say. 4 collected around that Baron pit, plus 2 extra wards in lane and in frontside jungle. This is a wild amount of vision just to ensure that RDGE are not going to be walking anywhere freely.
Yeah, and they're right to be scared, right? With the Corki, the Zaya, you have so much damage onto that Baron too. And I think Zaya also hitting this Flicker Blade power spike is so big for her too. Zaya on 2 items really does come online. So in this next fight, in less than a minute, it is going to be scary as EQ is a little scared. Popping the ultimate to make sure he can get away okay.
Now I gotta sit here and wonder. Now I get to sit here and wonder, how is this going to work? How easily is this going to break down as well? Because we're in this little state of a lull, I do get a lot of question marks on, do you know your own power scaling? Do you know how strong you are as a team? Are you going to know how strong you are when it comes to a team fight, a straight up value? As you see 2 on the bottom side, Chili Blue and Hexify. So Baron is going to be started by Iceborn ready.
Yeah, but they are on vision. Rubber Ducky know it's happening. They're slowly going to be collapsing. They don't do it too fast just of yet. The enemy team is going to collapse easily. We'll just have to see if any fight does break off or if they kind of go. And you see EQ is actually kind of behind them here, kind of sneaking in. They're playing it so slow. The teleport coming in from Sasiji. We're going to see if it can be canceled. It's not. So Renekton will have to TP as well. Chili Blue TPing a lot farther away. The Baron is still slowly going down. The fight starts onto Pup here. He's caught out. He is taken down just like that. And now the Pop Blossom Smoke Eye. Great cancel by Console. Now she's fighting, free hitting the entire time into 3 people. The Blade Storm doesn't work, but Chili Blue ends up going down. Husky is also doing so much work on the back end. Oh my god, the damage from Sasiji is crazy as Mayweather is running them down. The stuns from the Udyr, the roots from the Nico, they cannot run away as EQ ends up going down as well.
That hurt to watch. And the fact that EQQ didn't have Crescent Guard available, as that's a kill in the base.
The tentacles.
Console Diana not aware of the tentacle that was slamming down earlier. That feels bad. That extra kill now gives Dragon over. Baron was stopped. That is the important factor. Iceborn Ready were not able to gather both objectives. But now with that death, now with a couple extra kills, they can actually go right back and start it up. Because take a look. Who's going to stop them? Chili Blue? 2-2-0? Not going to be able to stop them. Who's going to stop them? Pup? Nah, you're a support. This should be a Baron. However, Hextech Gates might have something else to say. This one's going to be a little bit messier, though.
Yeah, they should be able to get there in time for the Hex Gates. I feel a fight is going to brew once again here as the Baron is going down fairly slowly. They're not doing too much damage, not using their abilities as they can sense the fight is coming too. And now you can see the Vultures are circling as they're slowly taking a little bit of damage. Hexify trying to get some poke down. Some of the ultimates aren't back up yet, so CG lands the vessel
4K.
onto the Renekton. Now they're going in together, so CG is slowly getting low.
Oh, what a poke.
Hexify is crazy. The fly onto 3 onto the back line, and it is a Mosh Fest with Ducky coming out on top here as the Baron is still alive. Mayweather is there. He does have the smite. Can he sneak it? Nah, EQ is aware. He's gonna go for it. Who's he gonna go to? It's gonna be Zinzao getting the drag or the Baron. Oh my god, what a turn for Rubber Ducky once again.
They squeak their way in this tub of death right now. RDGE. That fight shouldn't really have happened, and a big part, Smokey did everything right with the Pop Blossom over the wall, caught 3. Here's the problem: you're getting spit on by Baron. You have reduced armor and magic resistance. You're getting shredded each time, and the backline access that EQQ had as well. This Zinzao was allowed to utilize the early kills that they were able to pick up. So well done by RDGE. They found an opportunity of their own. Iceborn Ready. They haven't thrown away the game yet. It's still an even game. You take a look at the gold. However, you just lost Baron, which is going to allow a lot of this freestanding gold, these outer towers, which have not been taken down, to be collected and put to good use. You can see the gold mid lane drastically different. Hexify almost 2k up, but the bot side, Husky, extremely strong. First one to hit 11,000 gold.
Yeah, Husky has been farming up super well too. He was 7-0 coming into the fight, but yeah, I honestly Hexify just did so much work that fight. Yeah, Smokey landed a flash 3-man Pop Blossom, but Hexify landed a big one onto I think 3 people and did just as much damage. That Corki was really hurting with that 2-item power spike. Well, Smokey did not even have 2 items for that fight. They just got it, so that really made the difference, and that is allowing that gold lead to be equalized once again.
And actually, I'm really looking at Pup right now. Pup needs to be an interceptor, not exactly the engager right now. As much as I like it, I really, really like the engages. But I think Pup needs to run interference to allow Console Diana and Hexify to pump out the damage. You have EQ and Chili. Chili, 3-3-3. I mean, it's a Renekton. At the end of the day, you're not going to be able to outscale the likes of an LA. I'm really looking at EQ. EQ is starting to do some work, has a Sterix Gauge in pocket, so that's 2.5 items. You can access backline. Pup, as much as I know you want to follow up, the Crescent Guard is going to do a lot of work in keeping a lot of the damage out. I want to see Pup run interference, keep the likes of Smokey a little bit further at bay to keep the backline safe.
Yep, that's exactly it. And now we see the power of the Baron fading out at this point, and it's gonna come down to a little bit of a null state. Well, actually, never mind. Corki just didn't have it. It's just only there in the mid lane. But they are slowly chipping away at that bottom side tower. We can actually see EQ coming in to shadow Corki here to make sure that they can securely get this tower and maybe even go on to Smokey here. Smokey disrespecting a little bit, but they can stay kind of safe. Pup is behind, but not gonna look for it just yet.
And I like that call, that attempt. You can see that the hunger in RDGE's eyes is pretty massive. But again, with the drawdown of Husky Templar and more, it was looking a little bit scary. Granted, the next dragon is in a minute, so I expect this one to be fought over pretty heavily. You can see the ward vision actually being put down pretty well, and this time it's a little bit easier on RDGE's side. They were able to pick up Scuttle, they were able to get a little extra and some of the zombie wards available, so they keep eyes in some of the primary spots. However, the pink wards in the back end mean that this is all going to be cleared out very quickly, and Iceborn Ready should be in a good position now to force a fight on their own terms. Keep eyes on the TPs on both the top laners.
Yeah, and they are on Soul Point as a reminder. As EQ, they can't really fight Mayweather here, but the teams are gonna come. They're gonna mobilize. They're gonna help out. But yeah, that vision is all on the side of Iceborn, so good for them. You might see a little minion travel around the river. That is Smokey, in fact. He's been finding some great engages, some sneaky pop blossoms, and now he's got 2 items. They're really gonna start to hit. So we'll have to see if he can pull off the miracle once again.
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, the miracles appear all the time, but I'm sitting here so curious, right? This dragon is spawning. RDGE technically don't have to go for this if they don't want to. And it looks like they're actually going to give it. They're actually going to try and push for a little bit more tower space, which I actually really like. Might as well give this one up. No? Are you going back? It's down to 6K.
Yeah, it just seems like a late contest here as the wind become lightning lands. Goes in by himself, pushes people away, but EQ is just dead. That was just so much indecisiveness. You hate to see it, and they don't even get the mid turret. They can't even collapse on Sasiji, who's basically finished that tower. That was just really unfortunate.
Yeah, that was just you chase 2 rabbits and lose both. That's unfortunately what happened here. However, you might get a consolation prize with Sasiji now in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be the classic allowing moment. Can they keep sustaining? But I think there's just a few too many people down as they end up coming here. But now this is such a good fight for them. 2 kills onto them, and Kiri has the flash, so he's going to get away. But that was just, yeah, 2 kill, 2 for 1 in the end. Just like that.
I mean, it's still a rough one. I think they're still kicking themselves because they're going to lose another tower. Remember, Husky Templar, a lot of gold in the pocket, 3 items deep. But you get something, you're happy. But it was one of those moments of indecisiveness that you sit there and go, dang. Hindsight 2020, probably shouldn't have gone for Dragon. If we did, we should have set up our backline wards a little bit more if we want to make that move. RDGE now lose out and they have to play damage control. You can take a look at the gold has swum back. Iceborn Ready do have control, but again, that's mostly in Husky Templar, who does have flash and barrier up for any ensuing fights. So RDGE, realizing that they're getting stepped on a little bit in the macro game, are going to try and turn it up for the upcoming Baron.
Yeah, and I think like we still haven't seen this big team fight blow up that I think we were expecting to see at Soul Point, but the great vision on the side of Iceborn just made it so hard to contest. And now, yeah, like by the time the next dragon comes up, Aphelios should get to 4 items. He hasn't backed in a long time. And when Aphelios hits 4 items, this guy is going to hit like a truck. That is the Aphelios, the 200 years champion that we all know and love.
And we have to watch the gun rotation as well. I think what you're looking for is Chakram Infernum. It can bring so much power to just a clumped up team fight, and that's why this Baron is so scary. We've yet to see this Corki as well bring out that damage DPS. I'm sure the number is high, but it's just it becomes negligible at some points if it doesn't stick as well as you would like. So I'm really looking at Hexify. Can you lay down the damage with the rest of the team? Is it going to work well? I like this, by the way. Hexify over the wall is just like no pink ward for you. Not allowed right now.
Yeah, exactly. And we just saw Husky go back and buy a full Runon's Hurricane. Honestly, I like that you were talking about the weapons. Once he's done with the Gravitum, I honestly would just like look to start the Baron and start a fight, because you've got a 4-item Aphelios versus the others who are like not even 3.5. Honestly, you just got some crit cloaks on the other carries on the other team. So this guy is insanely strong right now.
I just hope it doesn't flesh out to the rest of the team, because you take a look at the rest of the team of Iceborn ready as well. They're a little bit lower. They only have 2.5, and that might catch them out a little bit more than they would like.
Yep, and good old wet noodle fights going on in the bot lane. Nothing really gonna end up happening from it, but yeah, you know, you got less than 2 minutes before this all-important dragon. Surely this one, a Rubber Ducky will contest.
Yeah, this is so CG is starting to realize they are all powerful. 5, 2, and 4, able to root out anyone they so wish. So Iceborn Ready taking this one nice and slow. Chili Blue though, still getting slapped around a little bit. It's another one as Chili Blue is just like, I hate this. I hate everything, but with this low amount, keep eyes. If they rotate anyone down, yeah, the immediate Baron call.
Yep, the vision is there. It's going to get taken out, so I don't think they're going to keep continuing it. The Hex Gates are coming in. The Hex Gates honestly make it so difficult to sneak the Baron, but for now you see Hexify going down to clear the wave in the bot lane. They both do have the TP to join though, so they should be able to here. The Baron is started up once again. The teleport from Sosiji is going to start tagging the tentacles, but the double TP straight into the thick of the enemy lines. He's in no man's ground. Chili Blue is going to pop the Dominus out, get out. Puppy goes in by himself, lands the Radance onto almost everyone, but he's just going to end up going down. And now the tentacles have taken over the river. Smokey with the Pop Blossom EQ. The ult's going to run out soon, and so is his life as Iceborn take the fight to them.
I mean, I saw that coming and I just did not enjoy it. The TP straight in essentially forces a fight no matter what you like. And Iceborn ready. They knew that that was going to be the calling. And it's a Renekton you can't fight late. There's only Chili Blue left with no ultimate in pocket, and Console Diana getting blown up without a chance to do anything. That hurts. You picked the Xayah for the safety, and the safety was not used. Iceborn ready to push us to game 3.
Yeah, and they are like split up more than I would like. I don't know if they can fully finish the game here. Everyone other than Corki should easily be up, but they're looking to just take the like towers in hills, break a lot of their base, and just head over to pick up that third Hextech Dragon for themselves.
Oh man, I'm honestly surprised they didn't take more. I feel like you could have pushed all the way down mid and taken the base pretty much.
Yeah.
But they're gonna play it safe. They're gonna play it smart, and I can agree with this. I expect them to really not have any issues. And for RDGE, you have to take a step back and go, okay, where did we fail? Well, number one, you can't let Console Diana get that close. Right now, Console Diana is right in the thick of things and not backing up with the rest of the team. You cannot play like you are in the lead. You are playing off the back foot. This is now very apparent. So Console Diana needs to stay on the back line away from the possible Pop Blossom. Play safe, get the feathers out, get the damage down.
I mean, I don't even know if he can front to back it anymore. I think the front to back worked when Console was a bit fed, when carries were about 2 to 3 items, but with the Aphelios being this fed, he's finished up the Zephyr too. I think you just lose front to back now. Everyone will just melt on the enemy on the front line. So I think you kind of just need to pick someone to make some creative play happen. Maybe Pupnu can get a pick or something like that. But Iceborn, they've scaled up to that giga late game, and this Aphelios is just gonna rip Rubber Ducky to shreds.
Yep. I mean, Rubber Duckies, they're not enjoying this one too much. So I do expect Iceborn ready to push all the lanes, send the 1-4 position. You can see CG already flexing down towards that bottom side, 4 gathering up on the top side. This is the standard. RDGE have one more chance to fight. You see the ultimates are up. Flash by Chili Blue can do some work, but you got to catch out a priority member, and that priority member has to be Husky Templar. We need to see that catch happen.
Yep, and for now, they're just going to be going into the enemy base. The Baron minions are pushing in as well. Pup, I think, needs to look for something. They need to make their last stand here as the waves are crashing into the Nexus towers. So CG doesn't land the E, so at least they'll get that for themselves. But they're just going to go over and pick up that last remaining in-head.
Yeah, I think this is... I mean, they're going to stay here. There's no chance. Oh my god, catch. No,
Yeah.
nothing else.
Well,
nothing else. They're good.
Now,
They're
yeah.
good.
Yeah, the waves are slowly going to be coming in. They can kind of just take their time. Iceborn are in no rush, so they'll just continue to scale better. But great poke. Ooh. Doing it when you have your teammates next to you, it gets instantly popped. The Sterix gets popped, and now they're going into Nexus Towers.
I mean, they caught one again, and that's going to be up, down.
Yeah, they got the wave, but at what cost? It's going to be Rakan that pays the price. Oh my god, the damage is insane on Husky right now. He kills people in 2 autos.
Oh man, I mean, this is gonna be that one true test. This has to be done 5v4.
Yeah, and here he goes with the win, becomes like an EQ. Husky is able to flash out, and now he's free hitting. Great Pop Blossom onto the enemy lines too, and they are just too strong. It's going to be Console and Hexify left. Great feather pullback, actually. And oh, they're kind of turning around, but no one is messing with Husky this game. Use the barrier for the tower shot and the Gravitum to finish off the tower. Console is 1 HP. He can try and make the plays. He can try his damn best, but Husky is too strong. Iceborn is too strong, and they're going to take game 2 of the series.
It wasn't easy by any stretch of the imagination. Not easy at all. That was frankly pretty rough, but they came out with a victory. Iceborn already said, okay, let's buckle down. We have the late game. We have the catch potential, and you can see that gold spike. You can see that massive flux on both ends. It's not pretty and it's not fun to play, but the squads are battling back, and we're seeing a glimmer of what Iceborn Ready can throw down. The games are close. And yes, the top side, the Alawi, brutal to look at, 43,000 damage, but breaking out the Aphelios, having that Nico in the mid lane, nullifying the likes of this Corki, very impressive.
Yeah, I love the Lowry picked this game, and it definitely performed the amount of pressure that it provided in the early to mid game. And then when it came to late game, Husky just did so much work in those team fights. Like, yeah, he was fed, but he did a great job of staying safe and putting out damage. It was just brilliantly played.
Yeah, this is I'm taking a look at game 3 and I'm sitting there going, hey, RDGE, you gotta figure something out. The Renekton blind pick, I think, it's a scary one. Anytime you pick Renekton, it is going to be a little bit early game centric, and if you don't take control, if you don't have jungler help, it gets out of control very quickly. At this point, I hate saying it, get a tank up there because the rest of your lanes did very well. Hexify, Console Diana, and Pup were doing okay in the early game. You can bank on that, but you need a bridge towards that mid to late.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see if they have the same ideas, if they can switch around the draft. It's just a best of one now. We've had a great series so far, and I know it's going to be a banger third game to close it out. And we'll be right back for that after a little break. everyone, we are back. We're in the midst of an amazing series right now. 1-1 between Iceborn and Rubber Ducky Gaming. A crazy game, a comeback from Iceborn here. They played so well to bring it back after a little bit of a questionable game one. But right now, we got one game left. Who do you think is going to take it, Orbital?
Honestly, I want to say Iceborn. You heard it out of my lips. He's almost saying Iceborn ready. And then I had to think. Game number one looked stellar for RDGE. Looked very in control. Yes, they messed up here and there, but the comp was overwhelming. Game two, little bit less so. Even in Iceborn Ready's hands, they still had a lot of early game mistakes. They were not really in control. It felt more like the composition carried them onwards. For game three, I'm still a little hesitant, but we'll see what they can do as we are loaded in for game three.
Yeah, we are heading straight into it. The bans have gone down already. We got Iceborn on the blue side here, banning Seraphine, Gwen, and Yone, while Rubber Ducky going for Ashe, Gragas, and Lilia. So similar stuff, and once again, it is going to be Corki first pick.
Honestly, I believe in the Corki damage. I don't believe in the Corki supremacy right now in this series. It feels like it's getting caught a little bit too early, so I'm a little bit scared. RDGE though, huge difference right now. 3 separate carries right now for Console Diana. This is the Seraphine, this is the Xayah, and now Illusion. These are 3 very different champions. RDGE leaning so heavily into the early game right now.
Yeah, I wonder what they were discussing after game 2, where they're suddenly like, yeah, we need to go Lucian Nami here. I think they just want to be really aggressive. They got a taste of that aggression, the superiority that they were able to obtain in that bot lane, and they wanted to just completely push it, get onto their comfort picks, and steamroll that bot lane. But we'll see if Nautilus can do something about it.
I like taking the Nautilus away. Iceborn Ready had this available to them last time. They're going all in on the damage output. And I like what they're doing. The Viego actually still brings a plethora of damage, but a little bit of CC in there. And the ability to steal away souls with that R, saying, hey, I'm going to take your abilities. It works out well, especially with 2 squishies. RDGE, I think, are going to be scary, still itemizing. I think they still have to go early game. I'd almost say, still push forward because of the Lucian Nami. There's the Wukong, bring a little bit early trading as well, getting the junglers out of the way almost instantly right now.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see. Just going to be like 80 booster junglers back and forth. I like the Viego with the Nautilus and the Corki. You have like some burst, some catch potential to pick up that initial soul. And, with the Nami and Xin Zhao, they're pretty easy to pick up, not too crazy to bring them down. Like, you don't have these crazy tanks on the enemy side. So I like the strat from Iceborn so far.
This is going to be a really good one, I think, mainly because the Xin Zhao can hold off on a lot with the cousin guard, but now you're looking at those diving ADCs, taking away the Kaisa, the ones that can really keep up with the Lucian and the Nami. There's the Jack span though. This is what we saw in game number 2 on the other side. So Iceborn still showing a lot of respect, but I still think we're going to see a blind pick in the mid. Well, not in the mid. We kind of know where the Corki is going. So RDGE, just saying, yeah, let's make sure the Corki goes in the mid, and now let's be able to counter it.
Yeah, and we see Kaisa and LeBlanc on the side of RDG here. Banning Gals, just some things that they've seen Iceborn play in the past, while once again the Jack span coming through from Iceborn. And the Hui,
yeah, this makes sense. It's the last one you can't let through. The Hui is such a good damage amplifier, plus a little extra in the back pocket. It's a breath of fresh air for everything. It's like the Ornn of the top lane, or Ornn of the mid lane, I should say. Right now, though, Syndra is available. It doesn't do great into the Corki, but it brings a level of CC and damage output that I think would be very appropriate. The Orianna wouldn't be terrible either, but I don't think these are in the wheelhouse, right? RDGE going, yeah, we're going to go all in on the damage aspect.
Akali is crazy to see here, just rolling up with it. Interesting to just I guess that's what they think is going to be the thing that beats Corki. This is them laying down the gauntlet in game 3, but hey, maybe it's Corki in the bot lane and it's going to be all in the mid lane instead.
Okay, so still brings some of that early diversification. Granted, we can still see that lock in at the very end. I mean, they faked me out with the Xin Zhao before, so RDGE did it. Why not Iceborn? No, they are going with the Ahri and the Corki in the bottom lane. And again, this raw damage output might surprise Lucian and Nami, but we haven't seen teams excel outwards from it. But of course, Iceborn, this time they have a lot more CC to work with. They have the roam ability with the Ahri. Now you get a blind pick your top lane. I really hope it's on the Gragas again. It's another AP though.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the Mordekaiser. RDGE gonna be in a. They're either gonna be put in the trash can or they're making some trash up top.
Yeah, the Mordekaiser, you know, I love to see these crazy picks coming out, and we'll have to see what they answer with. Do they have a reply for the Mordekaiser? Some things we've seen is like the Kled, the Olaf, and maybe even the Aatrox, and yeah, it's just going to be a volatile matchup in the top lane. I think the jungler's eyes are heading straight up there.
I mean, these are great duels. We haven't seen the Aatrox crazy enough for RDGE as well, so I mean, overall, RDGE have a very good damage output. The Akali for late game can do brutal work, even early. The trading patterns, if done well into an Ahri has a very low base HP. Aatrox in the top lane, great nullification, also great trading patterns if you're able to get onto the Mordekaiser, even in the Realm of Death. Overall, though, Iceborn ready, their comp is just so scary. Just by the raw champions that they have, this is a team that can steamroll you once again.
Yeah, and I think it really comes down to some of these volatile matchups, right? How will the Ahri versus Akali go? How will the Mordekaiser versus Aatrox go? We really have to see how it goes when we get into this game. I really cannot make a prediction here, but you know, we'll have a little coin flip. I'm a Viego fanatic myself, so I'm gonna say it's gonna be Iceborn taking it in the third game. Who do you think has it going into this draft here?
Let's go with RDGE. Let's get it split right down the middle.
All right, sweet. We're gonna have to see how it goes down here. We'll head into game 3 of this banger of a series after a little break. everyone? We are back. The last game of the series. It all comes down to this. Iceborn and Rubber Ducky have a game each, but we got some spicy characters coming in to prove their worth to see who's going to take it home tonight.
I feel like whenever you see a hard shift in champions picked, it's usually from a team that feels that they have a lot to prove or a lot to deal with. And when you bring in a Kali like this, it's a real one. Oh, okay. Well, Pup disconnected, but we can still talk a little bit. The Aatrox on the top side for Chile, a little bit different than, say, the Gwen or the Renekton, but still a lane dominant champion if given the opportunity. Hexify, though, on the Akali is really where my eyes have been at. Quite honestly, Hexify has been able to dominate in the mid lane. Game number 1 was able to nullify a lot of the action that the Corki wanted to do. Smokey in game 2 was relegated to 2 deaths early on. It was the mid to late where we saw the Nico really explode. And then here in game 3, looking to do the same. If Akali is able to get 2 or 3 kills, it can be disaster for a mid lane matchup.
And my eyes are honestly on Sosiji here on the Mordekaiser. I feel like this is the exact type of game that Mordekaiser wants to be in. He wants to be in the thick of it, and he's against 3 melees, and the only like range damage against him is the Lucian. I think Mordekaiser just does so much work this game. So if he doesn't get put behind, I think Iceborn are in such a good spot going forward.
They also have just strength all around. Husky Templar, like you said, this Corki can do so much work. Mayweather, though, is another one I'm looking at. This Viego, Mayweather has been able to find some very fun picks, I will say, some very interesting ones as well. And with the Viego this time around, if you find the picks, you basically get free access to a few other abilities, get extra healing. You can skill so well, and the rotation value that you get from a Viego Ahri battery, ridiculous overall. So Iceborn Ready have just as much available to them to make magic happen here on the Rift.
Yeah, they really have such a great pick comp, which is exactly what Viego wants to work with, right? I would love to be playing the Viego, just having an Ahri charm someone up for me, having Nala's ult someone up for me. It's nice to be Viego in this game. It's pretty chill. And on the other side, like everyone kind of has to come into you. You're not going to get kited by anyone other than Lucian, really. So yeah, this top side of Iceborn, I feel like it's onto them to carry this game.
I mean, so CG... You got an opportunity, and I know that you were talking about a Viego. You really enjoy the Viego. I really enjoy a good Mordekaiser. The fact that you pick it here blind just says a lot about your own champ pool, so we'll see if it works out. As we're back and underway with this game, I do expect to see a little bit of silliness. Gotta love the faker icon. You gotta love the faker icon, man.
You gotta show the goat.
Oh man, so good. So we'll see if it works out. Right now we're in a little bit of a pause waiting. Anyone that has watched on the spectator has knows that this gets a little bit silly. Yep, there we go. We're right back into it. The bot lane though, Console Diana and Pup, if we do not see an early lead, I'm very scared for how it pays out. Is that an AP Lucian, by the way? The early start with the Dorans, getting a little bit of free poke with it on the W.
Yeah, so I've actually seen this before when you are facing a lane where you kind of just want to bully and kind of poke, especially since he's running the first strike. He kind of just wants to trade and get a little bit of more ability damage. The W actually does it has a decent AP ratio. It will do damage, so it is so easy to land in the early laning phase. And there you go, getting that first strike value, getting that poke going already. So I love this innovation coming from him.
Yeah, this is it's going to be a test. It's going to be a very big test, I think. RDGE, once again, though, they've already made a magic happen as the last seed here in the Targon division. They've already shown up pretty heavily. They were able to say, hey, make the magic happen. They already put another game loss on the Iceborn's record. So, hey, you already have a little bit of that mix in there, and we can see even more in the future. But maybe, of course, but RDGE, they're saying we don't want to just make a mark. We don't want to leave just a scar. We want to take their lives in this series.
Exactly, and I'm gonna love how much these Sub-ZG and Chili Blue are just gonna be fighting. Every game, these guys are just going at each other, just fighting them, getting their combos and backing off. So we'll love to see them continue to do it this game.
Yeah, I'm sitting here still kind of hopeful, to say the least. I want to see some earliness as Console Diana getting a little bit spicy with it. I like that call. Go ahead and try and jump in. This is what you want to do when you're on a first strike Lucian. But mainly the jungler starting on opposite sides of the Rift is a little bit of a question though. So CG though, eating a lot of damage early on.
Yeah, and Chili Blue actually kind of getting pulled in helps him out with his Q combo there. So great trade for himself. He's got CG to burn both his potions already. So the trades have been going super well for him already.
I mean, overall, Chili Blue, we still have to wait and see. I mean, both these players have been low before, and we see them in dire straits. We've seen both of them actually in the same sense of, yeah, we're going to get killed, most likely, and we're just going to try and duke it out. Ooh. Oh, but that charm, though, Hexify eating so much damage here.
Yeah, Hexify really getting bullied out, and it is kind of expected in an Akali Ahri matchup. Ahri has so much more range, and Electrocute really helps out in the early game, but it's good to see Hexify just like sustaining and just equalizing the CS as much as possible. That's all you can really ask for until level 6.
I mean, yeah, but I want to see more. Like, I want to see Hexify kill. I love seeing early kills on an Akali, and I mentioned it before, which is why I like that EQ is roaming over if you can get a little bit of silliness in there. But the recall just means, yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. I mean, it's the safe play, of course, as that's double wards once again for Iceborn straight into enemy jungle territory.
Yeah, I love the deep wards that Iceborn puts. They always put such a good emphasis onto the vision, and there's a great bubble lands onto Husky here. But Kiri looking to maybe hook in. Gonna think better of it for now.
Oh man, let's. I mean, so far no one's really jumped the gun either. No one's wanted to go super excessive, but Hexify trying to basically just trade out. Always, it's going to be that charm. It's always going to be that charm. Just sitting there going, is it going to be a problem? Is the charm going to be the problem? Oh man. Okay, now we're starting to ramp it up. As soon as I say no real action, we're starting to get the damage trades.
Oh, they've been fighting. Just give them some more damage components. There's another great bubble by Puppy here. Husky just walking into those, but the wave state was with them. Not too much going to end up coming out from it.
You know, we wait and see for the upcoming dragon. So far, this has been a trade back and forth. Remember, game 1, it was RDGE that took all the grubs in game 1. Iceborn were the ones sitting on a little bit of soul point. Game 2 was the complete opposite. RDGE got everything, had the grubs and the early dragons, but then lost out afterwards. So, you know, maybe it's all about who gets the first dragons. Maybe no one wants to have that curse upon them.
Yeah, and it's interesting here. Iceborn's bot lane just did not back there. They had the opportunity to after shoving in, but they're going to stay here. Maybe they were looking for a play as Kiri looking to go in with Mayweather following. Husky walking forward. The barrier popped prematurely as the flash. They're going on 2 different targets. Console still has a flash, doesn't even end up using it. Oh, there was so much potential there, but they just did not go on the same targets. As now on the mid lane, Hexify ulting in, but Smokey is just going to come back to their tower and make sure everything's okay. Good chunks from Hexify, though.
I mean, with no kills, though, this still leads into both sides kind of getting what they want. No deaths means you just get a power farm as hard as possible. So not the worst outcome in the world to have. Chili Blue, though, I mean, with that recall coming in, it's been a nice reset for Sosiji, both coming back with those damage components. But this is the big one. EQQ getting those grubs early once again. That's what I want to say propelled them to take so many early towers and able to get so much extra gold into Chili Blue.
And we can see on the other side, Mayweather going to be taking the dragon. So it's just going to be the good old trade of grubs and dragon once again. He is kind of doing it by himself. I think Pupper might go investigate, but the mist is going to dissuade them.
I mean, Mayweather's going to be playing with a little bit of fire. It's going to be a little bit of a shakeup, and you know who goes for what. A little bit of a late dragon taken means that the dragons are going to spawn a little bit later on as well. So, you know, take that for what you will. Ooh, good little tap. Good little tap. Remember, there was a change a long time ago to the Lucian and Nami matchup, meaning you can't proc the bubbles as easily, but the damage is still there. Damage can still be output very, very nicely.
Yeah, it's not the crazy duo that it once was, but yeah, it still has the good laning prowess, but not going to be that dominating lane that you used to see back in the day. It's kind of more of just a mid-game swing right now. After Lucian gets 1 to 2 items, he can really be threatening. But yeah, we'll have to see what ends up happening when we get to that stage of the game.
I mean, I'm still waiting here to see if Sosiji is going to have a good time. That's a huge jump in, though.
Yeah, the death drum is not going to be popped there.
Oh, boy.
Looks like maybe. Oh, we can see a dive coming on the other side. Console has no flash. He's rooted up. He's stunned up. They're both getting their hearts broken as Viego dives them under
man.
cover. Husky gets both kills and flashes out perfectly safe. Mayweather turning into Nami and giving him a little heal too.
I like that. We were watching top side, but bot side was where all the action is. This is a great start, of course. Good push, though, by Hexify in the mid, trying to kind of fade back against, and actually Smokey might be in a little bit of trouble here. Nah,
Yeah.
you're good. He had another dash.
Yes. But it's good that he did break the ulti from him, as now the death realm is popped, so CG looking for it. The world ender is popped on the other side as well, as the monsters are fighting each other back and forth. A little bit of a sustained battle, but not that much damage on either side, so no one's going to end up going down.
Oh man, main thing on the bottom side, Husky Templar coming back with a strong buy as well. Pickaxe plus serrated is going to be real nice to play for. You now have lane dominance. Anytime console Diana steps up, you are going to be able to trade back even against the first strike. So I like this factor. Not only that, EQ hasn't really joined the lane. EQ has been relatively quiet this time around, and game number 2 was very active on the map, so hasn't been able to really show that magic that we saw somewhat in game 2.
Yeah, and I kind of am not a fan of that, you know? Oh, as a great pull, but Chili Blue should be able to get away here. Oh, yeah, EQ is actually going to come in from the other side. No Death Realm, but a lot of minions to help CG out here. I don't know if EQ has the damage. The Conqueror is popped, but this is a scary Mordekaiser. And you see Mayweather slowly coming in from the other side, but EQ lands a win, becomes a great flash Q by CG. But now here comes Mayweather turning the tides around. EQ gets the kill back, but Mayweather should have the edge here. It's going to be a 1-for-2 in the end.
Oh man, that is a good one.
Yeah,
oh, no.
now Kiri's
Yeah.
looking to go in as Console looking to use the culling, but the minions are going to be helping out Husky, as Kiri going to be smashing the anchor into his face to pick up the kill. And now Husky is hopefully going to pick up the next one here. Popper running for their life. One more auto needed from Husky, and that's all you need. It's going to be a 2-for-0 for Iceborn.
And a 6-1 total across the entirety of this game. It's a huge spike in damage output. And remember, Iceborn Ready were able to hold on to such a convincing early game in game 2. Well, I wouldn't say super convincing, but they were able to keep it close in game 2 because of their CS, because of their farming prospects. Now they have the best of both worlds. They have the kills plus the farm. Their gold lead ballooned into that 3K realm, and I don't think it's going to stop at all. Husky Templar, very, very strong collector before console Diana even has a full item either, and now Hexify is going to be the recipient of a pretty difficult gang to deal with.
Yeah, and you see Mayweather looking for stuff, but the whole team is around. Kiri's actually behind them. The Ariel is going to end up being used defensively, and nothing ends up happening in the end.
I mean, I was actually very, very worried if you were willing to follow up. If Kiri had actually walked through mid, I wonder if that would have been a little bit different, because you had the flash. You could have tried to hook in. Oh, a little bit of a charm. Nah, it's okay. Smokey, no mana, not going to be able to play, but the junglers are going to fight.
Yeah, EQ's in a little bit of trouble as there's 2 people around him. So CG gonna help him. Can the reset come through in time? Mayweather does get the reset, and now Chili Blue is in trouble. The World Ender is having a little bit of trouble. He's gonna end up going down, and now Kiri locks him up. Hexify and Smokey fighting on the other end. Pop looking for him, but his heart is broken as Mayweather is on a killing spree. Hexify running for their life, but Kiri still has the ultimate, gets a knockup, and so he knocks them down.
And this is the Iceborn Ready that we were waiting for the entire series, controlling, dominating from start to finish. As soon as they get some laning leads, they have taken over this game. Namely, Mayweather 3-0-4, so CG 3-1-3. They have the raw damage output, and they have the plates to call it in. 3 on the bot side, 1 in the top, 1 in the mid, for a grand total of 5 against the 0 of RDGE. Overall, Iceborn Ready. They're coming back in form. They have the lane dominance, and now they can kind of start swinging it around if they wish to go for these global objectives.
Yep, and now they're just looking in such prime form. The characters on their team are so good mid-game as well. Mordecai, honestly, every single one of them spikes so hard in the mid-game, but somehow it is going to be a Rubber Ducky looking to sneak away this dragon. They're just going to take it under their noses, using the tempo timings perfectly there.
I mean, this flow of the game is getting out of control. At this point, it is a full-on, just torrential downpour of death. Hexify, though, still has some damage in the pocket, has those Merc Treads available to nullify some of the damage, but Take a look at enemy territory invasion. Mayweather currently running in, taking away camps, starting to storm up a field, trying to get the rest of their 7 camps that they need.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna just be finish up those jungle items. It is 1-1 in Dragon and 3-3 in Grub. So the objectives themselves are pretty neutral. But you know, when the next ones come up soon, it's gonna be hard to fight them. As now they're actually looking to catch out Kirei, looking on his warding mission. Husky is nearby, but Kirei is slowly going down. This Nautilus is not too tanky yet. Console Diana picking up their first kill.
Took a little bit, but honestly, for an early game striker like this, Console Diana needs all the kills that they can get, only has the Essence Reaver. I mean, you really did need that. So now you get to play a little bit more. There's a lot of bounties on the board, by the way. 150 on the top side on SoCG, 250 on Mayweather, and then 250 on Husky. So a lot of gold will be picked up if you find those extra kills. EQQ, though, saying, okay, I'm still farming up. I'm still doing okay, but how long are you going to take until you start influencing those lanes a little bit heavier? You're 1, 2, and 1. Have half the kills of your team right now. And I just want to see more, especially with Herald spawning in now.
You're completely right. I think EQ needs to influence lanes more. Zinza's power spike comes from his immense dueling prowess in the early game, so you can't just be sit around farming. Every minute that goes on later, Mayweather can fight you better. Once he finishes up 2 items especially, can start winning those fights against you as well. So, you know, I'm looking to see more from him because Mayweather has been on top this game.
I mean, Mayweather has been all over the place, and especially where they're needed. Now going to go for this Herald, an easy pickup here. Quite honestly, we haven't seen the Herald used to an exceptional degree, at least on main. So it's like, it's been there. It's been nice, and it's helped break some of the towers, but it hasn't been that all-encompassing factor that we've seen really brutally open up the base. I feel like this might be one of the first games of the series that we do see it.
Yep, and you see people hover around Kiri, maybe thankfully missing that hook under tower. Yeah, I don't know what would have happened because there was a EQ waiting over the wall if that landed.
I mean, that would have been perfectly fine. I think that's gonna be okay. I mean, it's Kiri, right? You're a tank, kind of. So you'll be okay. You'll be okay for what it is. Still, though, we're still waiting for another big breakout moment. Iceborn ready. They should have a good sense that they are ahead and they want to push this limit. And I want to see them get aggressive. You have the lead. Let's keep extending it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they are also kind of okay with playing slow and steady as well. Just making sure to get all the neutrals across the board. I'm sure they're kind of sad that they missed out on the last dragon. But look at that damage from Husky already. Just 1.5 items on this Corky. But he's just chunking both of them so hard. As here comes EQ from behind. They're looking onto Smokies. But there's 2 ult chargers. 1 more to get under tower. The wind becomes lightning. Does land. Hexify picks up the kill under tower.
It's a nice one to play for, and suddenly we're looking a little bit better. Granted, you're still pretty far behind. You're down in CS by about 20, and you know Smokey is going to be so agile come later into the game. That kill, though, very much worth it. You even went a Dark Seal route, trying to stack up some extra damage behind it. So it's a very early pick, but of course, with that death, it means that you leave open the tower. So you got the individual gold, but the team gold win is going to go Iceborn's way.
Yeah, the tempo timing's worked out that he can get 1.5 towers from this. Mayweather just got a huge injection of gold to bolster him toward that second item power spike. Kiri, the hook does land onto something, but that Nami is so low. Same can be said for the support and Husky as well. That was an interesting turn of events, but we are chilling now. Mayweather is behind. The resets are waiting for him, but EQ is going to be looking for the counter gank. Teleport coming in as well. They're looking onto Husky. He's going to flash out. Heartbreaking. Mayweather is now Lucian. There's so much damage on his side, but he is a squishy ADC. Hexa5 in the backline doing so much work. Mayweather stacking up the Conqueror. Gonna be looking to stay alive. The teleport gonna be helping him now, and here comes the CG. Teleport behind from Smokey too, looking to pick up some kills, but just does not have the damage yet.
Doesn't matter. You get the towers, and now Hexa5 goes back in.
Yeah, it goes back in, but into the Death Realm, and now CG is gonna take his time shutting down that Akali.
That hurts. You were looking good. RDGE had the right idea, but remember, the flow, the pacing of this game is not working in their favor. Yes, you got a tower on the top side, but you'll lose a dragon as well, and it's Cloud. It's not the biggest one to give over, but it's still a second one to name. Iceborn ready. We're able to gather so many extra kills on that bot side, break open the towers a little bit faster, And now RDGE are left a little bit wandering. Your Lucian 1-3-2, Chili Blue 0-2-0, been relegated to top side wave management. Yes, you got tower, but RDGE follow behind.
Yeah, you know, there was so much potential in that fight. It was a good look from them, but Iceborn just turned around so well, especially with that TP. And, you know, it was a little bit questionable for Hexify trying to go in, trying to do something to bring his team back into the game. But now, Sosiji, he does not have the Death Realm, and everyone's coming around. They want a piece of the pie. He's going to be flashing the bubble, but the wave coming in to help out. What can he really do? Mayweather is going to be too late, cannot help him out as he ends up going down to Hexify.
And this is what I was talking about. The pick potential from RDGE is quite strong individually. They're able to make some work. But of course now top side, I mean, this is just a dive.
Yeah, Husky does a little bit of damage with the 2-item Corki. That was insane. That was a really easy dive under tower.
And it's going to continue. This is not a fed Aatrox. A lot of people see the fed Aatrox and they're like, yeah, this is perfect. You're not fed. You're not strong. You're not powerful. You are just a meat sack at the end of the day. So Iceborn ready. They're starting to realize their damage profile, and I want to see them push those limits. You now broken down all of the outer towers. Start looking for those lane matchups, and you know, try and put the likes of Husky maybe in a side lane or pressure with everyone with Mayweather as well. You are strong. You want to end this game quickly without letting RDGE have a glimmer of a comeback potential.
And I feel like the scariest characters are fed too. A fed Mordekaiser is just so hard to deal with. He just feels so unkillable. And the Viego being fed, just able to have easy access to resets, is just, how do you come back against that? What do you do if you're Rubber Duck Gaming now?
You pray for a catch. You pray for a catch, and it's not happening.
Yeah, Husky's just aimbot with his rockets, but here comes Mayweather with the Heartbreaker, giving up the kill. EQ looking to get back onto Husky or the barrier.
Oh, what a catch.
He's gonna end up going down. He does not. Now here comes one more person. Chillu finally gets a kill. Hexify coming in from behind. Now there's going to be fish in a barrel coming in from both sides. Hexify looking onto Mayweather. He has the reset, going to be using it to go out, but Hexify lands the shuriken, gets the kill.
Very, very well done. It's a 2-for-2 at the end of the day, but remember, this is a catch on the wrong side of the field.
Yeah, they're still going to be fighting, but there's a really fat Sosiji coming around here. Chillu barely escapes, but Sosiji going over, smack him real quick and get the kill.
I mean, that was a realm of death, and this is what I was mentioning. Because of that kill, because of where the kills occurred on RDGE's side of the rift, it was a problem. They weren't able to really fight out. You didn't see where everyone else is, and so CG allowed to walk in and pick up an extra kill, now gets more CES, then farming up a storm, has the Riftmaker plus the Rylai's. You're in prime position to take over. Iceborn ready. Stark difference from their game 1 match loss, and now looking much more prime to take over.
Yeah, tell me, how are they going to deal with Sosiji this game? How are they going to kill this Mordekaiser?
You don't. At this point, your best bet is Hexify. You're looking at Hexify 5-2-0, has the damage output, but you're not going to win. What you're waiting for is for that realm of death to fall. You're basically saying, okay, don't want to die, don't want to deal with this, wait it out. And honestly, Hexify has the best chance of living inside of there until you come out. So CG doesn't have that percentile winning advantage, and you can use the rest of the team to bottleneck him down. Yeah, however, so CG's playing so well for it.
The fact that Hexify is so fed and such a menace to the enemy carries, but Sosiji can just take him to the death realm and beat him anyway, is just so insane for Iceborn here. It really makes the execution easier for them.
I think we could see even more so. I want to see Iceborn ready actually make proactive moves and be willing to move out towards these fights a lot earlier on. Of course, Kiri might get caught once again. Yeah,
once again, Kiri in a warding mission. No one's gonna help him out this time, as they are instantly going on to him, gonna pick up the kill. The flash was not gonna help him out there.
Nah, I don't think so. Instead, you're gonna try and play it nice and slow. Just give it a little bit of time. And I mean, Kiri is a very important part of this team, but not the all-important one. What's important is you lost your support right before Dragon.
Yeah, great charm line again. Illusion is down at the start of the fight. Smokey looking to get out. Hexify looking for him. Gonna end up getting the kill here, but he is solo. Husky gonna be ending up picking up the trade. Now, so CG in the back lines of the enemy team coming out of the death realm. Is he gonna be able to stay alive? This Mordekaiser is a tank. Pup flashing out, but can't be said the same for Chili Blue as he ends up going down. Dragon is next on the board.
huge kills around, and even without support, like I said, it's not the main priority. RDGE got a little bit too confident, and now they have to play backline. This a dragon will feel nice in the pockets of Iceborn. A little bit extra moves means you get to roam out more, but you gotta look at Baron. I'm taking my eyes, I'm looking up there, I'm saying Hexify, are you gonna run there? Chili Blue, are you going to? RDGE have to realize that's the next name of the game they have to be worried about.
Yeah, another great fight for them, and now they are on soul point, and it is a great soul for them, I must say. Cloud just does so much work for this team to just run over the enemy team just after getting one reset or anything. As Kiri looking to hook in, Husky is there with him, but nothing gonna end up happening for now.
I think you play it slow. For Iceborn, you go ahead, got a lot of gold, you want to buy up. And you want to wait for Smokey to still have a little bit more of a raw opportunity. You can see the Horizon Focus and more in the bank. You're going for a lot more utility build option. You're not going for that Rabadons or anything like that. I would expect the Crypt Bloom to come out next. This is a very utility heavy Ari, because you've already identified that you're not getting majority of the share of the kills. You're 0, 2, and 6. You're just not going to get the gold influx. Instead, you enable the likes of Husky and so CG to pick up those kills, as well as Mayweather. Iceborn being tugged every which way are going to deal with it as they can. Try and buy up, try and get ready, maybe look for a Baron steal.
Yeah, you just have to look for miracles like those at this point, and honestly, it's not like the scaling is towards your advantage as well. I feel like every minute that goes on, Iceborn gets stronger in this game too. So, you know, maybe you kind of just have to try and look for some picks, look for some sneaky things, maybe a death bush to bring yourself back into the game.
I could see a death push. I really could. At the same time, I wouldn't recommend it still. I like, as much as I like the death push, at this point in the game, no one should be running around alone. That's what I think here. And so Iceborn, if they're caught by a death push, it's going to be all 5 members, which I think they can still win. Of course, Baron being started up means a whole different story, as RDGE, no one's really moving because they're going to allow EQQ to try for this steal.
Yeah, I guess they're just going for the steal. They're happy with that opportunity, but Smokey going to be using the ult to kind of distract. The Baron is down to 5k as Mordekaiser has taken down a tower in the bot lane already, and they're kind of okay with this pressure of the 4-1, so CG can keep pressuring in that bot lane while the Baron is slowly going down. Smokey has used up all the ult charges now. They're going to let it kind of reset and kind of just go back onto it. Mayweather's, I guess, okay just tanking this while Mordekaiser gets ahead, but, you know, Q is a bit low, Husky's a bit low. If they're still gonna look. Kiri, man, this guy just loves going in.
Yeah, so I was a little bit testy on that second re-engagement on the Baron. I was like, you're already getting shredded. That's a really dangerous spot. But again, they feel like they're in control. So you go ahead and take that dub. And you got the tower like you wanted. Iceborn, they used the best tool available to them, which was a Baron bait. Were they going to get it? I think they could have gone for it. I 100% think they could have gone for it with 4 and just let SoCG push or TP in. I mean, an Akali can't stop your TP. Iceborn, though, they play a much safer route. They say, no, we don't want to. We want to play smart. We don't want to give any extra opportunity, because in game 2, we got slaughtered at Baron. It wasn't a pretty sight.
Yeah, to be honest, like, I like that they didn't finish it. Smokey looking for a little pick, but EQ's there. He has the ult. He'll be able to get out. Husky got to be in, come and follow it, but nothing will be happening. Back to what I was saying, like, you're gonna be scaling better than them. If there was like an Aphelios on the other side, maybe you finish the Baron then, but there really is nothing to worry about. You're okay waiting all the time that you want. So I like that they just used it as a distraction for Mordekaiser to get that turret.
Take it slow, take it smart, and, you know, work your way up if you so wish. Another thing that I'm looking at here is the fact that Iceborn ready, they just had CG finish up the 3rd item. So main reason I want to point that out, you are nigh unstoppable. There is no one that can kill you at this point. But you can't go for an extended fight for RDGE. Iceborn ready know this, and they're going to use that to their advantage. They're going to have CG pushing forever, never join a team fight and bait around it. RDGE, they cannot have an indecisive moment now. The time has ticked down. You are forced into a fight or flight mode, and flight is not an option. You got to defend your base.
Yep, and now the Iceborn are on soul point. 30 seconds left till this next dragon, and it looks so hard for them. They have no in the dragon area either, that it's so hard for them to walk in against an Ari Nautilus. Just they're gonna instantly melt you too. So I have to see how they can navigate this insanely difficult circumstance.
I think they can do it. I want to see them do it. I want to see them be able to fight back, and I want to see them be able to pinch the rest of what Iceborn have to offer. But RDGE have to have a perfect engagement as well. They need to do it with all 5. We can see the rotation coming out of Chili Blue. They're starting to walk down, but we need to see that World Ender be of use. Dragon currently up, I believe, being finished up as well. Oh, Kiri.
Yeah, Kiri getting a little bit caught out, but he's going to be okay.
Oh, no.
The skill does not end up coming through. EQ is just going to end up going down. So CG does way too much damage right now. And now they're going to be turning on to the rest of the enemy team.
Oh,
with
no.
Console is caught. Console is down. And now the resets from the Viego. The Heartbreaker coming down. Mayweather getting one more kill. Hexify, the Fed member on the enemy team, looking to try and do something in the back line. Can he kill Husky? The barrier is too much. And he's going to end up going down. An ace for Iceborn as they're heading for the enemy base.
I mean, I think they can, but they're getting drawn. They're like, do we want to go for Baron? Do we want to go for base? It's base. It's 100% base. There's no reason to go for Baron just yet. You had death timers on your side. No, no, go back. No. Okay, Ari staying. You're good. Well, maybe not. I think you needed some 80 damage in there, but you're gonna try and go for this Baron as well. Okay, so they have some CG pushing on the bot side, so they will get at least one inhibitor tower.
Yeah, I think
I'm so glad.
Towers and a Baron.
I think they could have gotten Inhib though. Inhib I feel would have been so much more worth. I feel like that would have been so much more worth, because then you open up an avenue to push the rest of the lanes. Either way, you have open inhibitors. Here's the deal. RDGE, that could have just been EQQ losing their life. But Console Diana decided to step up, try to get in range, so CG pulled him to the realm of death, and then that was it. At that point, you had to cut your losses. RDGE did not. Ice firmly planted with the largest gold lead that we have seen this time today. I believe, at least at this moment, it is about 5 to 6k in their bank. They're going to utilize that plus the soul, the cloud soul, to reposition, to follow through and to fight. It is going to be a wildly fast end of this game.
I don't know. It's not 5 to. It is 15 to 16k. It is quite.
Oh no, that is over the 10k. I was about to say, wait, that is.
Yeah, they are a little bit stronger than their opponents right now. All that's left is to cross the T's and dot the I's here. They're going to be looking back onto that last tower remaining on outside the enemy base before they look to smash in that last inhib tower next to.
I can see this just going so differently. Yeah, this is that little trap. I don't think it's going to work. Honestly, like Mayweather's like, I want a tower dive right now.
They try and look for something. EQ once again going in. He's going to be able to create some space for himself, but CG is just so strong. Hexify is going to be knocked up and back into the shroud. Here goes Hexify. Lands the shuriken onto Smokey. Zinzal's going to end up going down. The Zanya spalling for some time. So CG.
Oh my god, so CG
does not go down, and now it's just Console and Puppy. The bot lane of Rubber Ducky is going to end up falling. This Lucian is the only one left, but Husky does so much damage. He's sending him into the enemy base. He's sending him into the enemy graves, and they're going to be taking the series tonight.
So well done. Iceborn ready. Maybe not ready for game 1, but more than ready for game 3.
Yeah, and just like that, one Nexus tower left is gonna fall in 2 seconds. The Nexus is gonna be done. Husky finish up an inhib for the fun of it. They're doing it tutorial style, but like just like that, it's gonna be Iceborn taking this series 2-1.
Hard fought battle through games 1 and 2, but game 3 was all theirs. Granted, I feel like they could have closed it out a lot earlier, but they made it work. As the undefeated squad, they wiped the blood from the cuts that they have earned, and they say GG easy. No, they don't. No, they don't. That is BM. That is beyond BM. But it was well done. This game was the cleanest that we saw here tonight, and Iceborn ready deserve their first place spot.
Yeah, honestly, it was a great series that you have got to give it for Rubber Ducky Gaming here. They really showed up here, really proved their mettle, and had a great showing this series against one of the best teams in the league. So really glad to see that, and hopefully they can pick up a win next week, right? This is not over for them just yet. So hopefully they will come back stronger in the coming weeks. But for tonight, the story is still Iceborn. They played meticulously well. This draft was so good from them. them so cohesive and worked so well together. As soon as they got an inch, they took a mile and they took down Rubber Ducky Gaming.
Now they need to keep this up against the second seed as well, XG Ryzen, I assume. We're watching the series and they're saying, hey, maybe we can get away with some of that damage as well. Maybe they don't close out as easily. We can poke fun at that. And I think, honestly, for Iceborn Ready, they need to go back to the drawing board. As the top team, I will say it will always sting the pride a little bit that the bottom ranked team can make you fight this hard. So I'm very curious how they play the rest of the season out.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to be able to get an interview with some of these Iceborn people, seeing what was going through their minds throughout this series, seeing if they were kind of sweating a little bit and how they ended up closing it out. We'll be back after just a little break to head into an interview. Hey everyone, we are here with the 80 carry superstar Husky Templar here after a 3-game series. I just want to get your thoughts. How are you feeling after such a long and strenuous series?
Yeah, it was fun series. I think it was harder than we wanted it to be, but after we cleaned up mistakes from games 1 and 2, like game 3 was pretty straightforward.
I mean, it was one of those things that coming out as the first seed right now, having won all of your previous series and still remaining undefeated, there must have been a little bit of weight on your shoulders. After game 1, it was a little bit of a devastating loss. Were you guys kind of just winging it at that point? Were you just like, hey, that's to be expected? Or were you saying that was within our reasonable mistake range?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't expect to lose game 1, even though we had, I would say, a suboptimal early game. I didn't really expect us to lose, and then when we lost, I'm like, it's fine, just game 1 things. We'll just lock in for game 2 and game 3, and that's kind of what happened. Yeah, I wasn't really concerned because game 1, a lot of things can happen.
I mean, even game 2 was looking a little bit out of sync as well. An early start to RDGE's, bottom lane and mid. We saw some victories for them. The bot lane synergy though really came together. I have to ask, is Philios one of those champions that you like to pull out in some of these scenarios, or is it one that is just in your regular repertoire?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm pretty comfortable on Aphelios. I feel like when I want to carry games or when I'm just feeling confident that I can play better than the enemy bot lane, it's just one of those champs that I'll pull out. But it's more of a once in a while pick, I would say. I wouldn't just blind him randomly all the time, but I would definitely say he's a champ that I like playing.
Yeah, it was a great display of the Felios. The damage was truly insane. I just wanted to take a little step back and ask you, did you expect to be here undefeated after all these weeks when you guys were starting out the league?
Uh, I didn't think we would be undefeated by week 3, but I don't. We haven't played like the top 2 teams in the league, so we'll see how it goes next week and the week after. But I would say at the very beginning, when we first started, we definitely had like issues as a team, that we didn't it didn't like resolve that easily. But then after week 1, I would say we fixed a lot of our issues and found a lot of good synergy. Everybody was just playing well, and it's been carrying us through the season.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We're going to be excited to see how these games end up panning out in these coming weeks, and I hope the stream viewers will be as well. We had a banger of a series tonight. Thank you for all the content you guys put out. You definitely made it fun to see. But with that, we'll let you return to your team. For everyone watching tonight, thanks for tuning in. I've been Karthik, and with me was Orbital. We got Caddy heading up the production super well. And yeah, with that, we'll see you next week. Have a good night.